Back from the dead. Ladies and gentlemen, you're all invited to go fucking mental.
Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to the channel. It is yours truly, Krystal with Ghost Girl Diaries, a paranormal podcast for those of you brave enough to join the circle. Today I have Kat with me, and we're kind of excited. Kat and I always go off the beaten path. We never do things like Elfie loves to do her history, and she's very specific, and Kat and I are just like, blah, you know what I mean? It's like all over the place. So don't panic, it's not blood or anything gross or anything like that. I am going to bring in my sidekick, Kat Cormier. Are you there, Kat?
I am here. Hello.
How are you?
God, I sounded like Siri. What the heck was that?
Yeah, I know.
Hello.
Maybe you're just wanting to be robotic. You know, that's a mood. Same.
Same.
You've been
Alien
busy.
robot.
You've been doing like a bunch of stuff in New Hampshire. You went to New York about a week ago. You were floating all over Long Island. And then after that, you've been directing some musical stuff on the West Coast or East Coast. How's it going?
It's going really well. It's been a hot minute since I've had a music directing opportunity. But funny story, it's back at my old high school where I did a lot of theater performing and, got my ground roots on that stage. So it's very full circle to be back and teaching these kids. We're doing Little Shop of Horrors, and it's just awesome. It's so exciting. The band is coming in on Monday for the first time, so everyone's really excited. And it's been a process. It's been a good one though.
Does it feel good to be back in theater?
It does. I just forgot how stressful it is. It's very just like, woo, gotta get all the pieces together. There's a lot of pieces you gotta put together for a live performance. So, but it's been really good. I'm very grateful for the opportunity. So,
well, it's also a lot like film, which is why I think you fell so easily into film, right? Was
true.
You had this whole background of like your parents did musical theater, like it's a family unit thing, and then when you got into film, I feel like it was just like a really easy transition over.
It really was. All the pieces fit together nicely because even though the lingo is different, the intentions and action behind everything is the same. Mm-hmm. Everything has to be moving smoothly. Everybody has to be in their, respective spots in order for all the cogs to move and have this go smoothly. So I can't wait to chat about it.
Oh my gosh, yeah, film.
It'll be fun. Yeah.
I have been editing our feature film, and we've talked about this before, but I feel like we're going to kind of dive into this in like a deeper perspective, I guess. There's so many sides to this that I don't think people realize. And it kind of starts out with being like a public figure. I think that's a good place to start. So it sucks because, I was on Travel Channel, and I feel like that wasn't even, it was only an episode. So to me, it wasn't enough. It was definitely, I feel like that was, for a lot of people, that's amazing. Like you got to go on Travel Channel and did all this. But to me, it's not my like ultimate purpose, like where I want to end up at, where I'm headed towards. And, then after that, started the YouTube channel in 2015, obviously. I've said in the past that I have, what is that? What is it called? Where you're like, you don't think you're an important person.
Imposter syndrome?
Imposter syndrome, yes. I do have that. And I think it's because my ultimate goal is what we've been working towards, which is like the series, the feature, even getting involved with film festivals last year. Like that's bigger to me than just like YouTube. But I do forget that I have something that a lot of people don't have, which is, a fully developed YouTube channel. And people get really weird when they find out who you are. And I'm bringing this up because I'm going through it right now with a couple of my mom's friends. A lot of her friends have like stayed in touch with me, since she passed away in January. And she had mentioned to them, oh, like Krystal does film, like she's a producer. But, a lot of people don't really understand what that means. You know what I mean? Like, what is a producer? What does film do? Like, I feel like when it's said, it sounds very basic versus like understanding what it actually is. Anyway, a couple of her friends have kind of finally Googled me basically since my mom's passed away. And they've gotten real weird, man. You've been through this though, because you've dealt with this,
Yeah, it is very strange. Because when you accomplish things, I think that some people in your life see that as like huge, like, and it is huge. It's amazing, everything that's been accomplished, for GGD and with anything in life, that you really want to pursue. But at the end of the day, we're still like human, and there's still a lot of work that goes into that. And like, we can still have normal human interaction without somebody having a freak out or, getting anxiety over no communication because we're busy. It's not personal.
It is. Well, especially people that you've known for a lot of your life that didn't really know that like side of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My mom, there's been a couple that I'll talk about it, but one of my mom's friends, I'm going to be honest, I don't know her that well. I haven't known her that long. She's known my mom since they were like in their 20s. But it wasn't somebody that my mom brought me around as a child or even really as an adult. But when my mom died, she was just like absolutely devastated. And this is not my mom's best friend. I know I've talked about her since my mom's died too, but this is not my mom's best friend. She's amazing. Nikki is like, she's taken me under her wing. But this other lady didn't know really who I was, Googled me, and then apparently she has therapy. And it's none of my business. But she went to her therapist last week and texted me and told me that she told her therapist about me, and her therapist watches Ghost Girl Diaries. And her therapist is like really blown away that she knows who I am. And it was just like a real awkward conversation. Because like how am I supposed to act normal after that? You know what I mean? Like it's like how am I supposed to respond to you? You know what I mean? And I tried to like segue away, I guess, and like couldn't. But it's weird last week, which I don't know if it's because like Mercury is going retrograde, here in a few days or whatever, or if it's like, Venus just moved into Aries, people get aggressive. But I've had one thing that I can't stand, and I don't know if you've had this happen, my social media has always been used for like my public personality. I have never had a personal social media ever. I've never ever been that person. It's always been used for like Ghost Girl Diaries or like, even when I was at travel. And when people can't get a hold of me in my personal life, they seem to think it's okay to like post a comment on my Instagram or message me on Instagram or post a comment on my TikTok asking like, why haven't you called me back? I've been trying to call. Like, it's almost like they want to be known by association. And like, I don't know why that pisses me off so bad, because to me, it's like social media is my business. Even like all the Krystal Leandra stuff is my business. That would be equal to me showing up to their job, knocking on the window like, hey, why haven't you called me back? You know what I mean? Like, I don't get why people do that. And then it's like, dude, first of all, I'm busy. Second of all, if I haven't called you back or returned your call or text, there's a reason for it. You know what I mean? Like, 3, maybe I need some space. Like, there's just, there's no unhealed version of myself at this point. I don't think I should have to explain myself either.
No. I mean, if you're not responding on a personal level, continuing to harass on social media isn't going to be helpful. You know what I mean? It's not going to land you in a good spot. But yeah, I feel like social media, at least for me too, I've been seeing it as a tool, and I've connected with some really beautiful souls and I have the greatest of friends through social media. But as far as posting goes, unless it's like my stories where I'm like talking or, you know, showing behind the scenes or whatever, it's strictly like work, you know? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a part of my life and you're in my life, text me, call me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm not on social media to have like conversation unless you just like don't have my number or something, you know? And it depends, but I totally understand where you're coming from.
It's just strange. People are strange. They do
it's
strange.
Uncomfortable.
You know, and it all goes back to that whole thing of what we were talking about, which is just being, I want to be treated like a normal human. And I know that that's not always possible, unfortunately, when you've gotten to the point where I'm at. But then again, in my head, I'm still like, I'm not even where I'm at, or I'm not even where I want to be. You know what I mean? Like, in my head, I haven't even made it. Like, I haven't done enough. You know what I mean? And so it's just weird, because then you have to set up boundaries and stuff like that. And it just makes you sad. Because it's like, I hate when people do that. It just bothers me so bad. I've had people do it for years, that like, if I don't return to text in a 24-hour period or a phone call at me, you know, and then they do it like a public comment, like, where are you? Why haven't you responded? Are you okay? Stop. What are you doing?
Right. Yeah.
Anyway.
Nobody, you know, no matter what you do, nobody is really entitled to anybody's time.
Mm-mm. You don't have ownership over anybody, even people that you're in a relationship with. You don't own them, period.
No.
If somebody...
And 9 times out of 10, it's not personal.
Mm-mm.
You know, it's busy, or you're doing your thing, or, you know, it doesn't warrant a response every 2 seconds, unless that's a relationship you have with somebody. Like, it's per case, but 9 times out of 10, like, nobody's going to get a response like that, you know? You've got to continue on, especially as an entrepreneur. You know, you work the 80 hours a week to not have the 9 to 5. It's just different, and people don't understand what that lifestyle is like unless you do it.
And that ties back into where we're going with this, which is, I think people, because you've experienced this too, people have a hard time understanding when you work for yourself. They think that means that you're on a 24/7 bender and you're having a party and you're free all the time. And anytime somebody calls you, you can just drop it at the dime of a hat to do anything for them. And it's actually like the quite opposite. Just because I work for myself and I work from home, I work probably double the amount of hours a normal person does with a 9 to 5. And it's not just because it's harder work, because it is, but I actually enjoy what I'm doing, but it takes a lot more elbow grease to get things done, right? Like with this side of it.
It's true. Like, and literally, this is a sign. I mean, this is old, but like, this is an example of like a structured schedule for what needs to be done daily. Like, there needs to be something set, because our office is at home. You know, all of our tools are at home. Like, just because we're home doesn't equate to us napping all day. You know, it just, we're working. We're working, doing the thing, especially with my crochet business. Oh my gosh, man. That was a hard one to combat with friends and family.
Yeah, how are you doing with that? Because you needed a break for a while too from dealing with it.
You know, I feel like with the panini, we're just gonna call it a panini.
You mean the Rona? The Rona?
Yeah. You know, it just took a dip, just like any other small business, and I just needed a break. I just needed a break. So I'm hoping to start back up again. In the fall. I'd really like to. I have some really cool ideas, but we'll see where it goes. My door is always open. My website's still up and running, so if folks want to call and check it out. But other than that, I'm not really taking commission right now.
You just need a break. Well, you had a lot of... I mean, you did one order that was like 25 like miniature crochet dragons or something. Do you remember that?
Oh my gosh, that was like...
I remember.
That was a year and a half ago. I actually had that come up on a Snapchat memory recently.
You're like, I don't want...
I was like, I never want to look at a crochet dragon again. Like, I'm so grateful for the business. They came out so cute, but that was a challenge.
Yeah, I remember.
And I never say no to custom orders, because I like to challenge myself. I like to learn something new, even if it's a pattern I haven't done yet. And I probably should have...
So no.
I probably should have been like, you know what, let's like half this order. Let's do like 10 instead of 20, you know, or like 25 or however many they got.
It was a lot, I remember.
It was, I was a little overzealous. with that.
Like, yeah, I
My
can do
hands
it.
hurt.
I know. I remember you calling me being like, I don't think I had arthritis before, but I'm pretty sure I do now.
My bones needed a minute, okay? They like had to use the smallest little hook. I remember calling Krystal and sending her Snapchat videos of me being like, this is day 8.
Yeah, you did.
I've gotten all of the heads done.
You called me one day and you were like kind of sniffling, crying, and you're like, I just need a break. I just need a break today. I was like, okay.
I was like, okay, go nap.
Take a
go
break.
Now. Like,
Yeah.
fine.
Oh my gosh. So tying all that into, which, you know, even being an entrepreneur, like going into, you know, being a filmmaker, it's, I never wanted to be a filmmaker. I know a lot of people are going to ask that. And I know I skipped it to a little question on down, but,
Okay.
I talk about it in my book a little teeny bit, but, you know, a lot. Cat holds the book up. It's right here. Amazon. Find Ghost Girl Diaries, the memoir, the Love Diaries.
Who's back?
The Love Diaries. Yeah. It's not like a lot of people that I've met in this industry are like, oh, I've always wanted to be a filmmaker ever since I was little, and like that was not something I had. And I know that sounds probably bad on my part as a filmmaker, but what really triggered it for me, well, was a few things. One, I dated this guy named Grant, and I was with him for 2 or 3 years in my early 20s. And at that time, you know, right when I got out of high school, they have this tech school in Colorado. It's in Lakewood, and it's called Warren Tech, okay? I had applied to Warren Tech when I was like 18, and I got in. I was accepted, and basically, even though I was 18, still in like my senior year, they accept you to go to trade school, and it basically your high school pays for it. So I got to go to cosmetology school, and I finished cosmetology school, and I was just dead set on being a cosmetologist for the rest of my life. Obviously, it's paid off. Like I still do makeup and fashion, and it's like hair, my first thing. But when I was with Grant in my early 20s, he was really obsessed with film, and he wanted to be a filmmaker. And he would have me sit down and watch these like really intricate films, and I hated it. I'm going to be honest, I hated it. I did. I'm still like, you love Lord of the Rings, which is it's detailed, very long. Your arm is completely tattooed and you know, in lieu of it. And I've seen Lord of the Rings, but I'm not the kind that like cares that much about a film to like sit there and depict it, and you know what I mean?
For 8 hours.
And he was just really, I don't know, it's weird that there like certain people come across your path, because finally there was a movie that came out, if you guys remember, it was called Memento. And it's essentially a movie that plays backwards. So like the beginning is the end and it plays backwards. So I watched that with him, which is so weird because I've only watched it once. I've never watched it since. So that must have made an impact on me. I think I'm scared to watch it again because I don't want it to ruin the memory that I have in my head. You know what I mean? Of like how good it was. Yeah. But I watched Memento, and that was the first time I realized that you could do something with a film that wasn't normal. Like it would play backwards and then forwards and back. It was like so weird. And that was what sparked my interest in film. And but I didn't really still know what to do with it. And then I got on Travel Channel, and that was just it. But it's so weird because even on Travel Channel, I didn't really know what I was doing when I was on Travel Channel. Like I was not knowledgeable as like a producer and like what it took. But when I was there for that week filming, I like soaked everything in. There were producers and PAs on set and everyone you could imagine, camera techs, audio techs. And I was asking questions. I wanted to know everything right now. It was. I was ready. I was ready. And then I left there like a sponge, and I started studying film after that. Then I got hired on. It's hard because I believe in like book ethics of like teaching you things, but I also feel like hands-on also helps you understand the process. But when you applied to be in with GGD, but I feel like yours was so easy with film because you'd already done production in like music theater.
Yeah, it was very strange how it all kind of meshed together nicely. But I understood the lifestyle because I had already experienced it to an extent, but in the theater world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, filming the pilot episode for me was
trauma.
Like, trauma. And, I also I wanted to continue to do that. Like, I wanted to go to the next location.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to keep filming. I wanted to keep, traveling and experiencing those things and investigating. And it becomes addicting.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes very addicting. And I mean, July will be, is it 4 years? 5 years with GGD?
Is it 5? Wait.
Is it 5? No.
4.
I think it's, okay, yeah, it's 4.
It's 97. It's 108. It's been 108 years since you, feels like it.
100 is 29,000 years. Comma included.
Yeah.
You know what's actually really funny is, and I don't know if I've ever told you this, when I was a kid, I loved playing with Movie Maker.
Really?
Like, I would actually, so like...
That is weird. That's specific.
Okay, but I remember this, my parents remember it too, because the poor things had to sit there and I'd have them sit down and watch the whole thing. But I would create PowerPoint presentations first.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured out how to, like, add music to PowerPoint presentations, and I would do, like, little, like, slideshows and stuff like that with, like, music and just, like, add pretty pictures from the internet. And then I segued into Movie Maker, and I remember I made this, like, 20-minute video during the holiday season with orchestral background music of Christmas carols.
Oh my god.
And I had these beautiful, this beautiful artwork, like, fading in and out. And I was really into it, and I worked on it for, like, 3 days, and, like, I forced my parents to watch the whole thing, and I was just like, listen to this, like, look at this. And it's so funny thinking back on that, because it really wasn't as off track as to where I'm at now.
Right, yeah.
So there must have been something when I was younger that must have been a little glimpse or taste into what my future was going to look like.
Music and film, literally.
Music and film, literally. It's so funny. I have to get you on the phone with my mom so you can hear about it.
Your parents were probably like, oh my god, not another
so
one.
They were like, stop, please stop. And I'm like, this is so beautiful. And I have my headphones in, like, editing it, and I'm like, in the mode.
Oh my god, I'm dead.
I'm so happy. Yeah, it was so fun.
Oh my god, I did not know that. That is weird. That's like you had like a premonition or something about the future.
Oh yeah, I was obsessed with it, and then I burnt myself out. I went to Movie Maker, and then I moved on to singing, and then went back and forth.
Then I went back. We don't use Movie Maker anymore, though. Darn it.
We don't use no.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
What was that on? Was that Windows or Mac?
Windows.
Was it? Oh my god.
Yeah. This was like, oh my gosh, how old was I? I want to say like 12.
Mm-hmm. 90s?
Like 12, 13.
Yeah. Oh my god. I'm dead.
Yeah, because I was born, 92, so yeah, late 90s, early 2000s.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I never did that. I was never that cool. I was just at my haunted aunt's house dealing with ghosts all the time. I know somebody asked me that the other day. They were like, of all things, like, how do you're in production, but like, how'd you get in paranormal? I was like, it was just part of my life. It was just, I was born with it. You know what I mean? It's fine. Sorry. But, so yeah, the filming thing for me wasn't totally natural, but like, for me, it was similar in a way. Like you said, you had like that knowledge or that spark. That's what happened with Travel Channel. Like I just knew that was it, period. And it's so weird because after Travel Channel, I literally willingly walked away completely from cosmetology. Just like I had been doing hair. I was making really good money. I was a personal stylist for like rock bands, alternative bands in Denver. And I was traveling with them. I mean, that's good money. And especially when there was a few that were, semi-famous. And I just was like, done. Nope, done. I already know what's happening. Leading me to other directions. I had worked for a little bit as like an executive assistant for a hospital. And I was making a lot of money. And I walked away from it. Walked away. Wow. So it's weird. I feel like when you just get that like all-knowing, it just happens,
Absolutely.
So the process of filming is like pre-production. And I'm starting there because, we've had a lot of questions pop up on social media about, like, how does one do this? I've talked about it before, but realistically, So when you're in pre-production, it's before you've even shot anything. This is when you make a list of locations that you want to go. But the problem is it's not just that easy. You have to contact those locations, make sure that they will approve for you to even show up, make sure that they'll allow you to show up for filming. I mean, like, it's like a deep-seated process. And let's, like, go back to the pilots.
Job in itself.
It is. You did it all pre-production for the pilot by yourself. Mm-hmm. And we contacted, at that time, 50 different locations, like, randomly. And there was probably, 3 to 5 that said yes. Now, also, when that happens, sometimes locations will charge you money and sometimes they will not. The problem is the way that you present yourself. Because, you know, I've always said, or Kat has always, you know, she likes to, like, question my Aquarius moon brain. Which is, are you a paranormal investigator first or are you a filmmaker? And I have really defined myself and set myself apart from paranormal groups. And there's a reason for that. It's not to say that I'm better than anyone else, but I am not wanting to go to these locations just to ghost hunt, just to see what you capture on camera, just to use for YouTube. That is not my purpose of going to locations. I have established a production company, and when you are presenting yourself as a production company to a location, you have to be extremely professional, be willing to negotiate and understand what contracts are about, and be able to present yourself in a way that they understand that you will not disrespect the property. Because unfortunately, one big thing that we have always fought and we will continue to fight is a lot of times locations really, really dislike paranormal investigators because they have showed up with like 20 people in their group and they've disrespected the property or disrespected the owners. Or, I mean, let's be real, we've talked about this too. Some paranormal TV shows that we've seen, big ones, without naming names, have disrespected people at locations or locations themselves. And because of the previous experiences they've had with professional shows, they do not want to allow anyone else on to investigate. So either they'll flat out say no, or they'll say, yes, you can come for $10,000. And and I think the reason they want you to come for a money amount is if you're treating it like an actual company, then you have to show up with something to share with them to prove you're not going to deface the location, right? I mean, essentially deface it is literally, I mean, we've heard horror stories about what people have done to locations, and that's why I don't call myself like a ghost hunting group. We're not a ghost hunting group. We are not paranormal investigators. We are filmmakers, period.
Right. You have to do that when going in, especially with location management. I learned a lot with that experience. It's interesting communing with some of these locations because when you initially talk about it, you can tell that they're interested. But when you have someone that really defaced it or didn't treat the property nicely or the people nicely, or sometimes they're told to not put like a dark twist on it. Mm-hmm. And, you know, they'll go ahead and film, but it'll be really dark, and then they lose business, dependent on the location.
Or it's dark, like, so what Kat's trying to say is, you know, like, let's say I own an opera house, and there is a dark entity here, but I really don't want you to talk about just demons, because there's certain shows that are just all about demons. Even, like, look at Dead Files, for example. Like, they're like, oh, there's a demon inhabiting and it's gonna take over your child and possess him. Well, the problem is the property owners, maybe for religious purposes, maybe because they're scared for whatever reason, they don't want their property to be shown just as demonic property. They're afraid they will literally lose business on it. But there's another side to that I don't think people talk about, which I think this is a really good point to bring up. Yes, it could lose business if you're promoting it as a demonic location. Also, that's going to attract whoever sees that, if it's on YouTube, whatever, that's going to attract the wrong people, And people that actually do summon stuff or like are interested in connecting with demonic activity are going to show up to that location, and who knows what they're going to do. And then those type of people are also going to deface the property. Do you see where the property owners have concerns? If they're trying to communicate with you, if you're filming here, respect it. And if you don't like what they're saying about the property, then go somewhere else. That's part of pre-production negotiations, right? It
is, and almost all of them will require liability insurance as well, dependent on how long you're going to be there, because you never know. Mm-hmm. You never know.
And you should have liability. I mean, for us, especially if you're a paranormal ghost hunting group, you're taking in, right, thousands of dollars with the, like, literally one Ovilus is $300 to $500 depending on which one you have, right? Then you have, like, you say 10 EVP digital recorders. Those are usually $60 to $99 per one. You have 10 of them, that's $1,000. You should have insurance. If you're taking all that stuff with you, you need to have an established business. But it still, to me, goes back to why I don't identify as a paranormal investigator, because they have a really bad rap. Because people have really disrespected owners, property owners, and locations, and they don't like you. They don't like us. Because those bad people, it sucks. You might have 10 great experiences with 10 groups, but one bad group comes in, they're going to always remember that bad group. That bad group's going to stand out from the 10% versus the 90% of the other ones. Am I right?
It's so true. It is true every time. Yep.
So in the beginning, you're gonna have to negotiate with locations. I sometimes start out with a contact letter, or sometimes we will just call cold turkey and then they will call us back. Sometimes you won't hear back, but you always have to follow up. Because if you don't follow up, you don't look like you're presenting yourself professional. And if you're not good at speaking on the phone or negotiating with people, you need to find someone that can. Because if you're using improper English, improper sentences and grammar when you're communicating on the phone, they are not going to take you serious to be able to come film there. Like, you need to sound like an actual executive business person being able to negotiate this location. Or if you can't do it, have someone else that can. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, it's a business transaction. Literally. I mean, you've got to go into that with boss mindset. To negotiate, counteroffer, and, all of that. So.
Well, I literally put you through, like, no joke, I put Kat through, like, 6 months of training before I let her touch anything with a 10-foot pole. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the other problem, too, and that's where you see a distinct difference between paranormal investigators or ghost hunting groups versus filmmakers. Ghost hunting groups will tend to get a lot of people involved, right? Like 10 to 15, 20 people. There's a group in Colorado that literally has like 40 people in their paranormal groups, okay?
That's too many.
It is. But then, like, you get anybody involved, and whoever is willing to, like, donate their time to, like, help the process of filming or investigating, they just get desperate and bring anybody on without actually training, without understanding the person. Just because you're not making financial money off of this doesn't mean it should be taken any less serious than an actual position. And I don't know, I've seen a lot of messiness come out of it. I also don't agree with paranormal groups traipsing in with 30 or 40 people to investigate a location.
No.
For so many reasons. But one of those reasons being, yes, it can contaminate evidence, but 2, you don't need 30 or 40 people there to investigate.
No.
That is intimidating to the location. And that, honestly, I feel like it's a bigger liability because you have more people with a possibility of a really bad outcome of somebody destroying something while you're there.
Yeah.
Because it's a run-of-the-mill. Everyone's running, doing whatever they want, you know what I mean? And, like...
Unorganized.
Yeah, I've never had more than, like... I feel like 10 is a lot to be on set with me. But a good number I usually keep is, like, probably 5 to 7 is really comfortable. And that's considering, like, Kat is doing usually production, location management. I'm doing, like, contracts with the owner of the location. like signing contracts to allow us to be there. Then I usually have one security, sometimes more on set. Then we have 2 to 3 camera techs, so that already adds up to like 7 people. But remember, I'm running a really strict show. I don't just let everybody flail all over the place. I mean, even when we were just shooting for our feature film, we did a feature paranormal film that I'm editing right now. We had to film a few times in the hallways at some of these locations, and nobody was there, and I was still telling the crew, shush, like, don't be loud, let's go in, let's get this done. Like, I don't want them to think we're like running, screaming through the halls, acting like idiots trying to destroy the location. And I think that a lot of people do this. I think that's the problem, don't you?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people are there with selfish intentions, and at the end of the day, it just makes them look bad. Mm-hmm. It's just not professional looking at all. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. You know, it's got to be organized, and you know, a lot of the pre-production work is producer work. You know, and we tag team it together because it's a lot. It's an undertaking, but that's also why it's important to not have a lot of people on set as well, because you need to keep the, you know, things moving in an organized way, and it's hard to do that when there's 30 people running around, you know.
Well, and I've even had small accounts of people, like, you know, like I say, 5 to 7 is really my number, but you know, in the past, I've learned my own lessons on set where I've brought people that I shouldn't have brought, and they did kind of F off, you know, like they weren't paying attention, doing what they needed to do, and it just ended up pissing me off more than anything. And then I didn't get things done that I needed to because they were like flouncing around. Oh, I'm in a haunted location, you know, flouncing around like an idiot. And once again, that goes back to just not allowing just anybody to go to these locations, because if your crew blows it, you will never go back there with your company. No. They'll remember you, and you'll never go back.
It's true. It's true. And, you know, it's also a financial thing, too. Mm-hmm. It takes money to go and do this stuff. And, you know, that's why having a reliable crew and people around you is important to make sure the job's done.
Oh, it takes money. Kat did go in a little bit this last time to help me, and so did our security, Josh did. But I usually fund it completely. I'm trying to figure out how to word this. That's part of pre-production, is understanding, especially when you're going somewhere far. Gas is involved. There's so much prep work. Your prep, especially in the film side. So from here on out, while we're talking, we're going to be discussing just the film side. I do not identify as a paranormal investigator, period. There's so much more to what I do in film. I am a executive producer, director, and that is what I do, period. Kat's a producer. Yes, of course we investigate while we're there, but like that's not our main hub. That's our TV personality. You know what I mean? That's like our YouTube personality is the investigator. But like there's so, like, even this last time, remember we were getting ready to leave and we were doing inventory, and I was like, oh my God, I need more like micro SD cards. Thank God, Amazon. I ended up having to order like $180 of stuff and I never ever make my crew be responsible for the equipment cost ever. Then we had to get like cloaks because we were doing B-roll, and I had to order like $80 worth of cloaks the last minute, because now you're planning on like what kind of content you're going to shoot, what kind of shots, what's the storyline going to be, because you're actually shooting a film. What are you trying to make it look like? What are you trying to accomplish? There's a beginning, middle, and end. What's the storyline? And I don't think people realize it's not paranormal investigating. It is filmmaking.
Yeah. Honestly, it's like 90% filmmaking and the 10% is investigating.
It is. And that part's fun.
It is. Absolutely. But when we post behind the scenes and when we're talking about like our experiences, and we do have really like amazing moments on set and stuff, but it's work. It's work. Mm-hmm. And, you know, work is work and play is play. And we know how to delineate each, having done it now for a while, Krystal longer. And, you know, we make it look easy. We make it look easy, and it is not. It's not easy or simple.
Well, and it's not. And I know that this is an ongoing, like, foot in the mouth joke that we have, but I'm going to use it as another example without naming names. I had someone on set in the past, recently in the past, you know, to make it look easy, it's not, because we filmed for a week in a location, and then we had to go return to said location. and I had a person on that was a camera tech, and I had trained them in camera work. I had given them one of my favorite film books to study from. Once again, did not just throw this person in front of a camera. This was something that was long-term planned out. I taught them one-on-one camera op, camera work, cinematography. And we showed up to set for a week and then another couple of days. And this person did not even hit the record button once while we were there. I know, but like my point of this is we make it look easy to the point where someone that I had trained for a very long time couldn't even remember to hit the record button while we were there for like 7 days. You know what I'm saying? So my point is it's not easy because while you're on set, there's so much going on. There's the owners are coming in and out. Neighbors see that there's film equipment coming in and out. Neighbors see security. Neighbors see, big SUVs rolling up with all this equipment coming out of it. Wires are running out of the house. People want to know what's going on. There's constantly people in your face. And at the same time, you also have to remember to hit the record button to film. Seriously. That's some pressure. That is am I right? I mean, that's some pressure.
You are correct. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on.
And that doesn't include weird scenarios. Like we think we had some hellhounds come out the door. That's not funny because we were literally not even ready to film yet. We didn't even have the wires rolled out yet. And like, so there's other weird things that happen. We were literally in a town where there was like a meth drug bust happening in the next house over. God. Right, but once again, you're trying to film and like, you're like, I paid thousands of dollars to be here. And all this chaos is happening, but yet we still have to, but I hate to tell you this, every film shoot, there's something going on because that's just life. Life keeps going.
Well, and those small towns they're so unpredictable.
They are
unpredictable. Yeah. Security, always.
Always, yeah, jeez.
Always.
Yeah.
Wow.
As we're laughing after what happened in Tonopah.
You know what? We live and learn. It's fine. We got through Tonopah, okay?
Yeah.
We got through it.
So, and it's even more than that, though.
It is.
Like you guys wouldn't even believe the weird shit that happens on set. Like the weird stuff that you don't even, like, you're not planned for. Like one set we were on, I had taken like Static X night vision cams, all connected to a DVR, very fancy system, brand new TV, like for the monitor. And we're setting, there's so much to do. Like that's another step in itself. It's just like unloading bags and bags and bags of equipment. Then you have to take it out. Then you have to plug it all in. Then you have to make sure and sometimes you have to do diagnostics because something's not working, something's not running, whatever. And this one time we showed up on set and the monitor wasn't working. The brand new monitor that we had bought for the DVR system, and it was not working. And the nearest Walmart was a 55-minute drive, which, by the way, we had just gotten back from Walmart.
From an instance where the food went bad in the fridge because the fridge died. Isn't that what happened?
Yeah. Well, no, that's another example.
Literally.
Yeah. We brought stuff. We bought broccoli and ranch dip. Okay.
I did not eat broccoli for like a solid year after this, okay? Like,
and we because I'm always about like healthy snacks, nobody wants to eat, a Chipotle burrito before you're like in lockdown together. Somebody's gonna bomb you, with a gastric bypass issue. No Chipotle on set, okay? Like I've literally had investigators clog toilets because they had Chipotle, it's like
good plumbing.
And you're in a small little house with everybody and somebody just bombed the toilet and it smells like Hiroshima and you're not going to make it out alive because the house is humid. No, I'm serious. That's another thing you have to think of. Yeah, the broccoli went bad. The fridge went out. The broccoli went bad. The whole house smelled like broccoli farts. We thought it was a demonic sulfur, attachment coming through. We had to throw out the broccoli.
So bad.
Then we had to drive another 55 minutes to get the TV because we had to have it. You know what I'm like? There's just, and once again, it was on me to buy the TV. I had to go buy a $150 TV. That was not Kat's responsibility. Who's running this bitch? Who's running this show? The EP is. You can't expect your fellow investigators. So once again, if you're going to film, this is why I don't call myself a paranormal investigator. I'm an EP because I'm the one having to buy this stuff. I don't expect anybody else to put out $150 for another TV monitor that just went out at the last minute. Imagine if a crew showed up that didn't have money and their monitor went out and they'd be without, evidence for the whole night. You have to really think ahead and be prepared. Like, it's so much more than just, oh, we're going to go ghost hunt together. It's just so much more than that.
It's true. And like, when we're saying that, it's not an issue. We don't have an issue with paranormal investigators. That's not what we're saying. It's just two different lifestyles. Meaning, if you investigate as a hobby and you do that with groups and because you like spooky things and that's great. That's fine. But when you do add in the film aspect and you're wanting to get signed to a network, to get these things going and then to actually have this as a career, it's a different
Animal.
ball game.
It's a
totally different ball game.
Totally.
It's two different lifestyles. That's it. There's no hate. It just is what it is,
Mm-hmm.
But you can use certain aspects of what we're saying into your groups, depending on what you want to do. Maybe this will inspire you,
You can, yeah. But that's not our ultimate goal. Our ultimate goal,
not our goal.
It's not YouTube. I mean, we love YouTube. It's done well. But our goal has always been, we won a series. We're obviously releasing this feature film. We've won 5 film festivals in 2021. So we have bigger goals ahead. And it does, unfortunately, take money. It takes money to create this and to make it. And you have to think ahead. I want you guys to think, because I'm always been, on my whole channel, critical thinking, there's so much more to this than just, I look back at some of my pilots and I'm shocked I did as well as I did, because I was such a newbie investigator and not only investigator, newbie filmmaker. And I've come so far now. I have it down to such a science at this point, from everything I've learned and from working in actual production companies and learning from them, working with producers. And, God, think about what we just went through too. The town energy gets you all discombobulated too.
Oh my gosh.
You went to Jerome and you and Josh were like, where are we? I'm lost. I'm like, no, watch the GPS. And you're both it's hard to zone in and focus on that. And, so pre-production is complicated. Production, when you get a location, you have to, I don't think people do this either. Even if you're posting paranormal night vision footage online on YouTube, are you having all of your investigators sign a photography waiver?
Right.
There's a lot of waivers come into factor if you're filming and recording people. And you need to make sure you have a legal document stating that you give them permission to record you and put you on a professional public platform. Because if you don't have those documents signed, you can get sued. Let's say 5 years from now, that investigator quits, he gets married and has kids, and now he's embarrassed and doesn't want anybody to know that he used to be a ghost hunter. And now he sues you on YouTube. He can sue you if you don't have those documents.
It's true in NDAs as well.
Oh.
If you don't want to keep some things private, that...
And NDAs, people give, some people hate NDAs. They can take shit for it. But I want you to understand that NDAs literally protect everybody.
Both parties.
Yes. I'm going to tell you the truth. There's some things that I know about people who used to work with me that I should not know about. There are some things those people know about me that they also should not know about, which cause some trauma. On both sides, but and then people get big mouths and decide to open their mouth, but it is there to protect you, because when you're driving and going to locations with people and spending the night with people, you get to know a whole nother side of people. It's very personal, isn't it, Kat? Now, Kat and I always share a room, and we're like sisters at this point, so it doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
Say the leprechaun foot. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, there's no NDA for that. Okay. Everybody knows about that now.
Oh, yeah. You said everyone's messaging you pictures of feet on social media.
Literally, I have people sending me gifts of leprechauns and 4-leaf clovers and stuff. I'm just okay.
No, but okay. On the negative side, you have stayed with people that you've learned a lot of information on in the past. And it was way too much information, right?
TMI, yeah. Which is gonna happen, you know, but it doesn't make it right. You know?
No, but that's why the NDAs are important, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean,
yeah.
You don't want to share when someone clogged the toilet, what it looked like, and what you experienced.
No, not the visual.
Well, we had one person that just kept clogging and clogging. Do you remember that? Every time we turned around, they're walking with the plunger. I'm like, again, Jesus.
I cannot forget. Okay? It's worse than the broccoli.
It's true. But, I'm just talking to get you guys thinking. You know what I mean? Like, I want you just to think about why people do these things. Like, when you are sharing intimate places, like you're sleeping in the same house or the same location, or you're sharing food, or you're going to the bathroom in the same toilet. I'm serious. Those are very personal moments. And that's why you create NDAs, is because
it's true.
I mean, I don't think I've ever done anything weird, but then again, maybe other people with cat.
Okay, there's some tea on me.
It was the foot. It was the leprechaun foot.
It was the foot.
Exactly. Crunch. It just crunched.
Crunch.
Oh my God.
It hurts right now. Literally.
Oh my God, I'm dead. I'm getting phantom pains. It's fine.
Phantom pains. I do get phantom pains.
Contracts are important too, because people break shit. People lose stuff. That's why you need to be organized and have inventory. You need to make sure before you leave, you have everything that you need. Let's talk about another issue, which is, like, seriously, and I feel like this part is always freaking left out. Security.
Yeah, that's really important to schedule that, like, immediately before anything else, after booking a location, especially.
Well, for a few reasons. So Josh has done my security. He's been with me the longest. He's my literal longest running employee since 2016 or something like that. Whatever.
Yeah.
And he's been with me forever. Now in public, when we have public events, he's done he's usually like my personal security, and then he'll hire extra other security for other people, and then for the crew, basically. And he does sweeps of the location to make sure that, like, there isn't anyone homeless living in there. Weird things can happen, guys. Seriously, weird things can happen. There was one time Josh was on set with us that this is the same location where we thought we had encountered the hellhounds.
Oh my gosh.
I know. And I asked Josh to go sweep this graveyard area. I mean, it didn't look like anybody was there, but I just wanted to make sure. And I sent him with a walkie, and he's like, there's a pack of coyotes down here. And I was like, I don't know if that's coyotes, actually. So just start swiftly walking back this direction. But it's good that he knew. Like, yeah. But what if you didn't have security and there was, like, coyotes or something weird, or, like, I don't know. There's literally mountain lions in California. Like, you saw that one episode of Ghost Adventures where Jay was outside rolling down the mountain with a freaking mountain lion. Like, that's what... I know. So true. But that's what security's for. It's more than just what you think it is. You know what I mean? But
in the moment, it's bad. It's really bad.
Well, and for us, it's important because we're female. You know, like, I don't know if there's other female groups out there. I'm sure that there is, but you're making a huge mistake if you don't take someone that you trust with you for security. It can be someone's boyfriend, girlfriend. Like I said, Josh has done it for me for years. But you have to have security there. As females, people like to test you. Is that a good way to put it?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So ridiculous.
It is. So Jerome, we didn't really have any issues, but once again, when we have security with us, also we're not as, people don't want to walk up to us as easily. People do recognize us. They know who Ghost Girl Diaries is. Obviously the old channel, you know, I mean, I don't have to say anything. We decided to do our first location without security. I don't know why. Josh was open to going, and I think we were just like, we can handle this. It's not a big deal. We're going to go, like, you know, what was like an hour and a half drive north. It's not even a big deal.
The pilot? The pilot?
No, this last one that we did in Tonopah.
Oh, Tonopah, yes. Yeah.
So Kat and I were like, we're just going to cruise up to Tonopah. We were making a couple of, like, pit stops in the middle. We went to Goldfield. We went to Rylett, which is another, like, ghost town. Stopped at a few other places in between. And it was okay until we hit Tonopah. And actually, it was the last day of filming. We didn't have...
It was a weird day.
It was. That was a weird day. It was our last day of filming, and I was sitting here thinking, hey, you know what? We did pretty good without security. It's the first time we've gone without security. Big mistake. We had a guy that worked at the Clown Motel who was like a maintenance worker. So once again, you think someone that knows you're there filming and like works for the location will leave you alone. And they didn't.
They're quite the opposite. Quite the opposite.
Which is why I think we need to talk about this. Like, we talked about this in the stream a couple weeks ago, but I really want Kat and I to talk about this, like, not laughing. It was a joke at first, but, like, it really could have been a dangerous situation. So, so basically for that episode, or for that part of the feature, I was doing the drone pilot footage. So I know how to fly the drone. It's a very expensive drone, by the way. It's like a $2,000 drone. I mean, they're not cheap anyways. It's a DJI drone, so it's like one of the upper, like, you know, it's expensive. On top of that, we have, Kat was using the Sony Cam, which is like a $8,000 camera. You know what I mean? Like, my point is like, this is not cheap stuff. So I'm outside, I'm flying the drone. Kat is in the room, like, she's like charging equipment, and like I told her, I said, no, I don't need you to go out with me to do the drone footage. I can do this really quickly. I don't need help. I'm good. And I go outside, and this guy that works at the Clown Motel sees me alone, and I get cornered. Now, they recognized us. They knew who Ghost Girl Diaries was. They knew that we were there. I hadn't met this guy before, but he became very handsy and abrasive. And it's interesting because, I mean, I really am not the kind of person that people easily walk up to. Not that that's like, that sounded really bad. Not that
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm trying, how do I word this? I'm an intimidating personality. I am. The way I dress, the way I look. If you put Kat and I together at a location, 9 times out of 10, people will walk up to Kat before me. It's not a bad thing. It's just, Kat looks nicer and friendlier than I do, you know?
Well, you also have a million and one things running through your head. You know what I mean? Like,
true.
You've got a lot of things, checklists going off, and that radiates an energy.
Yeah. Usually I have like I have this gold planner that's like literally 3 inches thick, and I'm usually like, it's true. I carry it with me everywhere. I'm writing. I have a giant, you know, gothic purse on my arm that has everything but the kitchen sink inside of it. Actually, probably does have that as well.
Probably it does.
I'm also, you know, I wear like giant platform shoes everywhere I walk. So I'm like, you know, 5'8", 5'9", with blonde hair and brightly colored eyes. And people are like, what the fuck is this? And so my point is I was not expecting someone to walk up to me, because normally people are afraid of me. And I was really wrong. I don't know if it was because I was alone that it made him more... I realized he'd been watching us. Some of the workers at the Clown Motel live at the motel in some of the rooms. And I had realized he'd been watching us from the second-story balcony. I'd seen him a few times. But I just kind of like taken mental note of it, you know what I mean? And I'm out in the parking lot of the Clown Motel by myself, and here he comes. And I'm talking that uncomfortable feeling of when you're in conversation with somebody out in public, even if it's like a waitress, right? Let's say you're going to Chili's and you're checking in with the waitress or the hostess. You know how far to stand away from people to keep it comfortable. Do you know what I'm saying?
Social cues.
It is social,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just like, you know, a good distance back. I don't know you, so, you know.
And he was immediately like on me, like right next to me in my face, and kept trying to put his hand up I was wearing a dress. I was wearing a very like gothic dress. So was Kat. We had B-roll to shoot. I did have, fishnets on with knee-high black leather boots, but it's that whole thing again of like,
doesn't matter.
Women, get raped because they wear short skirts. I don't think so. You know what I mean? Like, also, by the way, if you ever see me in a dress, I definitely 100% have shorts under that dress. 120% of the time. And not only was he trying to stick his hand up my dress, but he was also trying to take pictures under my skirt.
Yeah.
Once again, you will be poorly depressed by what comes out of that, because there's shorts under there. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, he was very, very aggressive. And I am the kind of person that if you're in my space, you're going to know. And it sucks because, in a society that we've been raised in, I think that women are often told to be polite, even in circumstances like that. And I think especially the younger females you are, like in your 20s, if you're dealing with something like that, you wouldn't know how to be aggressive and like tell someone to stop. Just so you know, I was not happy and he knew it. And I kept taking big steps back, and I said, I need you to step back. I have the drone and I don't want you to get hit with the drone. And he would not step back. I had to text Kat to come out immediately. Kat comes out, like, sees what's happening, and she's like full force, like, Kat turned into
I was ready to go. I turned into security.
You were security at that point.
I was like, fuck around, find out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, try me.
It was bad. It was bad. So my point is don't put yourself in a position where you feel you just need safety. I can promise you right now, if Josh would have been with us on set, that would have never happened.
Oh.
Although my security is like, he's like, what, 6'4", like 350
he's like
pounds?
6'5".
He's huge.
Yeah.
He just I love it when he's on set with us, because if we have to go through a crowd of people, he can see over everybody, and I just follow Josh. Like, yeah, people just like get out of his way, like that's just weird. But anyway, and we told Josh what happened after that. So then, it's interesting. He did back off a little bit when you came out, the guy at the clown hotel. And he did. He took a step back, but he wouldn't leave us still. And that's when he started talking inappropriate. Yeah, he started talking inappropriate to us. And Kat was like under her breath, like looking at, like, what the fuck did you say? Like,
I'm so like, did I really just hear that come out of your mouth?
Yeah, he told us we were Mormon sluts. Is that right?
Yeah, he's like, why do you guys look like Mormon sluts?
And that he got turned on by Mormon sluts or something like that. Yeah, he was going on. He was like,
he's like, you going to a funeral? I'm thinking to myself, who goes to a funeral like this? I'm actually pretty sure I said that.
I said only yours is what I said.
I do remember that.
I said, because I'm trying to scare him, like, go away.
Get back up, pal.
Yeah, it was really bad. So in all seriousness, though, the point of this conversation is, what if there was more than one of him? What if there was 3 or 4 of them, and they overpowered Kat and I, and we wouldn't have been able to get out of it? So, especially as females in paranormal, I need you to really think, because it's a very naive headspace to think that it won't happen to me. Because I'm going to be honest, I've been on set hundreds of times. I've filmed 10 to 15 pilots now. That was my first one without security, and in my head I thought, oh, it can't happen to me. And guess what happened? And it did. And it'll never happen again. We'll never be on set without security. But seriously, I just want people, here's why I'm bringing this up too. Even if you're looking at this from like a paranormal investigative perspective, over the years that I've been on YouTube, so I started on YouTube in 2015, right? The channel's grown to where it is now. Millions of views. I can't tell you how many girls, all ages, that are paranormal investigators, old and young, doesn't matter, have messaged me telling me that they are an investigator in so-and-so group and that they were sexually assaulted or sexually harassed by one of the men in the group. First of all, if somebody ever grabbed my ass in the dark, I would be throat punching them to the ground, okay? Like, they would not be coming out alive. So let's just get that real. So first, you know, and that's the worst part is, like, I want women in paranormal to understand that just because you're a girl, you don't need to be polite if someone grabs your ass. If someone puts their hand on you, you don't need to be polite. In fact, I would suggest not to be polite, okay? And, you know, it just sucks. And if that's the case, if that's happening, or if you've heard I've heard some people like message me say, oh yeah, I was going to join this group, but I decided not to because I found this online forum of girls talking about that when they involved themselves in this group with this guy, like, you know, they would, they'd get sexually harassed or, like, you know, groped or something in the dark of the locations.
Not worth it. Then
don't just join a group. I hate to say that, but, like, you are going in the dark with strangers, and always tell people where you're going. Like, don't just be like, oh yeah, I'm going on a ghost hunt. Like, once again, don't have that naive thought that it can't always happen to you. Pepper spray, I don't know, like, always. I'm not even kidding you, I don't have it on me right now. I have a self-defense tool on my keys, and it's a like outline, it's plastic, it's a planchette, so it literally looks like a Ouija planchette. And it says, stay away from me. And it's a sharp, you've seen it, haven't you?
I've seen it. Mm-hmm.
And so, don't ever be naive to where you're not making sure that you're not taking care of yourself. And, you know, I know this is, like, really stupid, but it's that age-old question of, like, don't go dark places with people you don't know and strangers. Maybe you need to get to know them better, maybe via, like, you know, requesting them on social media so that you know what kind of lifestyle that they're leading. You know what I mean? I don't know. Do you have any advice on that? Do you agree?
I agree. You know, this is why it's really imperative for you to do the research, not only for locations, but for people.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. You know, and you have to trust the people that you're with.
You do.
You have to.
Well,
you know,
and I've preached that before, is like, your family, you literally have each other's backs, and
you're supposed to.
You are. Yeah, and we have in the past, whether people have gotten mad from the past or not, but, like, the times we've been on set, we've had some dangerous things happen. Like literally, we thought the one location, there were a pack of, like, wild coyotes outside. It wasn't coyotes, it was, I don't know what it was. But you have to be there for each other. You can't worry about drama or, like, stupid shit while that's going on. You have to pay attention.
Yeah.
Even, like, this guy at the Clown Motel walking up to us, like, you need to pay attention. And once again, it makes me nervous because thank God that didn't happen the night before, because Kat and I had just investigated the graveyard together. We were completely alone out in the dark in the middle of Tonopah.
Would have been totally taken out. Completely.
Well, yeah, what if there were, once again, 3 or 4 men that had come up to us? We'd be screwed. I don't know what you'd do at that point, you know?
No, another thing to mention as well is, you know, especially if there are men in your group, I'm not saying this can't happen to women, but men specifically, you never know how a haunted location is going to affect them either.
True. Mm-hmm.
So, you know, making sure that you're careful with that and you're surrounded by people that you trust and that can take care of a situation in case it gets bad. Because you never know what could happen.
Mm-hmm. I've had 2 bad instances in the past. One in Jerome. I had a guy that was a camera tech on set. I told you about him, that he ended up leaving early. He claimed he had gotten possessed. I don't know. He was a veteran. He had a lot of like PTSD issues from going to war. But he was really, really poorly affected by the energy there. And he went, like, absolutely psychotic, which honestly could be dangerous too. So Kat's right. Like, I also had another location where a guy was a camera op, just became very, very angry at location. Like, very, very, very. You were there for that, Kat.
It was.
And, you know, this person's like 6'2". It's a man, 300 pounds. Like, they can't calm down because of the energy. You know, what's going to happen? Like, you need to really think ahead for when those, you know, throwing holy water at somebody when they're in a rage is not going to do a damn thing. Like, no. I hate when you hear spiritualist resolve of, like, oh, well, if you're in an investigation and somebody gets possessed or, like, affected, just throw holy water and say, shut up. Are you serious?
That's
When you're in that moment of like someone's having like a violent outburst because they're being affected by the energy, do you really think I have freaking time to go grab my purse with holy water? What a naive, dumb, idiotic thing to say to me.
yeah. You've got to critically think when you're doing things like this. It is not just going to another location with your friends to get pictures for social media. It's legit. Like, you've also got to think ahead as well.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter if you're even on set. You critically think, plan ahead for worst case scenario. So when it happens, or if it does, you are prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. It's not that you can't trust people, but you have to go into it being prepared, because there might be people there you don't know.
That's true. People that work there, like what we experience, like literally, you don't know what you're not prepared for. You could also crush Kat's foot thinking it was a freaking leprechaun.
A leprechaun could just pop out of nowhere, and then a skinwalker just magically appears, and I roll my eyes at it and it goes away.
Jesus.
I was so done. I was like, no,
God.
my foot's still throbbing. You can go back to your hellhole wherever you came
Oh my
from
God.
and let me sleep.
I can't.
Meanwhile, security's in the other room sleeping,
Pass out.
snoring really loudly.
No, that's true too. Like, and that's going back to the NDAs. Is like our security is like he snores so bad. It's not even funny. It's fine though. I don't care.
Oh.
But like, I've had other people do weird things in their sleep. That goes back to the NDA of like, sleep time is intimate. It is. You know what I mean? Like, you make noises, if you know what I'm saying. So
Sometimes you say the St. Michael prayer multiple times in haunted locations.
that's just why you and I share a room as we're just like, it's fine. If there's a leprechaun foot show up, we're safe. If there's a skinwalker, we're still safe. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh my God.
if there's a bunch of dead miners just popping in, just call for St. Michael. Everything's gonna be fine.
Just crazy. It's crazy.
It's so bad.
Right.
People wonder why we're siblings at this point, because you don't know what we've been through. Okay.
It's just a lot. A lot.
But you know what? It is fun. Like, I know we've shared some of the bad stuff, but that's just because we're wanting to prepare anybody for what they want to do. Whether you go the investigator route or whether you go, the film route. But if you do things right, it is fun. But there's going to be things that pop up that are unexpected, because that's just life. It's just life. There's nothing you can do about it. Let's see. Was there anything else on set that we wanted to talk about? Well, okay. Last thing. I'm going to talk about it.
Okay.
I think that it was paranormal evidence that we captured while we were in Tonopah. But we were in the graveyard, and there was a gunshot that went off several times. I do think this was paranormal. And if and when you see the feature film, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But what if it wasn't? It was very nearby. Elfie listened to it. She was really worried for us because she was like, that's not safe. So once again, like, you go to these really small towns, you don't really know if people are on drugs. You don't know if people are doing illegal things. You could just happen to run into the next John Wayne Gacy. I hate to say that, but you know what I mean? Like, it could happen. And once again, like, I've had these weird occurrences happen. So we heard these gunshots going off, and we had to end one of our investigations early because it sounded really nearby. My point is like, once again, I thought that would never happen to me. I've been on set so many times and I've never had an experience like that. But what happens if it does? I was not mentally prepared for that because I'd never been through it before. Which obviously, yes, it takes experience when you're dealing with those things. What if it was real? What if it was real? You heard it and you were like, well,
It was like right behind. It was like right behind me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy.
Well, and I hate to say it, but of course, at our core of paranormal investigators, we're all obsessed with true crime, right? Mm-hmm. And the minute you hear something like that, you're thinking like the world's next serial killer's in town and he's going through town blowing everybody's brains out.
He's in New Hampshire. It's fine.
Oh yeah, Kat has a serial killer on the loose, by the way. It's not funny. Seriously. I know the leprechaun foot's a joke, but this is not a joke.
But yeah, I mean, nothing's been confirmed, but they're speculating. There's a viral video on TikTok talking about it.
Yeah, they keep finding bodies, right, in all the ravines in New Hampshire.
Yeah, they the most recent 2 people that were found in the woods, shot, lived in my mom's apartment complex. Her mother's been greeted by 2 FBI agents over the course of a couple weeks. So when FBI is involved, they're not just involving themselves to be involved. This stuff's been going on since 2019.
Yikes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway.
But anyway.
Cats not allowed to hike.
Don't go out alone.
Don't hike with your leprechaun feet because it's unsafe.
No hiking with leprechauns or skinwalkers. Or not. Oh my, why do
you say that?
Why do I keep saying that?
She's been doing that on the phone lately. She'll go to talk and all of a sudden Skinwalker comes out and I'm like, please stop talking.
I meant crawler. I meant crawler. That's weird. That's the second time I've said that.
I know. And it's after I sent you that video footage where we think we found the Skinwalker. You've been saying it. So if you tapped into that picture of your face.
Literally, it's the worst. Can I show them? Can I just show them my face?
Yeah. I was going through drone footage because I'm editing the feature, which
I don't know.
We're going to talk about post-production next, but I found this still of Cat, so I'm like shooting the drone and What are you doing? Well, okay, at this moment that you see Kat's face, she starts screaming at me. Remember when I told the story where I was like trying to fly the drone in Death Valley and Kat's like, there's a freaking Skinwalker over there. That was, she pulls her camera out and she's zooming in, like using it as like, she's like, there's a Skinwalker. That was her. I mean, I feel like that's evidence that you actually thought it was legit what was going on.
I've had some concerns. My face was like, where to go? We need to go right now.
I'm sitting here like trying to fly the drone. I'm like, shut up, Kat. Just like finish. God.
Well, what happened was crazy with that too is shortly after I thought I heard skinwalkers and saw them, the wind picked up like crazy.
Oh my God. It almost wrecked the drone.
Yeah, so we were like, we need to go right now.
No, I was like, I was sitting there like, Kat's standing next to me, and I was like, I put my arms out, and I was like, shh. And she's like, what? And I was like, just be calm. And she's like, why? I was like, because the wind is thrashing the drone around, and it's going to wreck. And I was like, if we are calm, the wind will calm down. And I was like, shh. It's like a... Which it did work. It did work.
Finally, yeah.
My ancestors were like, shh, wind, just calm down. Let the drone come down. I mean, it was like that drone. Well, and then like you can auto land it, right? I don't know if you guys have ever flown a drone, but you can auto land it. And I accidentally hit auto land. I was panicking because when the wind picks up, first of all, you do not launch a drone in the wind ever, okay? And I didn't. There was no wind when I launched.
There was no wind.
And all of a sudden the wind picks up and I hit auto land, which basically shoots the drone. I'm not kidding you. So drones go off GPS and you have to calibrate it to the GPS before you like hit fly. So I hit auto land and it shot the drone up 1 mile from the ground in the wind. And I was like, it's gone. It's a goner. It's going to die. There's like these mountains next to us of like sand, and I was like, it's gonna wreck in the mountain. I just don't want to watch. And I was like, I hit end autopilot, which basically means like don't correlate it to like shoot up in the air. So it goes via satellite. It shoots up in the air a mile, recalibrates to the satellite, and then it will land where you launched it from. And so I canceled it, but then I had to slowly bring the drone back down. I was moving the hand like half an inch. I was like, just breathe. So bad. Never want to do that again.
I blame the leprechauns, all right?
It wasn't the skinwalker. It was the leprechaun foot.
It was the leprechaun following us, okay?
Oh my God, I'm dead.
I just gotta say.
Someone said I had to end an investigation early once because I was not prepared for what we were looking for. We had not prepared enough. Yes, it's true. And that's why I'm not trying to scare you guys, I promise. I'm just sharing my stories because, Kat, I mean, you've been there. Mm-hmm. You've been there. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be, so when this like pack of hellhounds, and I'm calling it hellhounds because as far as I know, it's coyotes don't come up to humans that closely. There was an actual pack of, like, we don't know what they were. We didn't see them. One of my security guards was outside. Blake was outside, who's doing camera op work, okay? They see, it's pitch black. We're in a town with no lights. There's no street lights, none. I'm not being dramatic, none. So when the sun goes down, it is a pitch black city. And dirt roads, that's what the kind of town we were in, middle of nowhere. And they heard the coyotes, if that's what they are. There was literally like glow in the dark eyes, literally, like they said 5 or 6 of them. We have the door wide open. We're unloading equipment. We're setting up home base. You know how much work it is. We have 4 night vision static cams, handy cams, GoPros, paranormal equipment.
Yeah, and what the problem was is that we were limited in space, so we were running wire from a source outside to home base.
Yep.
Just to get something going and see if it's working and all of that. And when we heard these hellhounds at the door, which, by the way, they were sniffing the door. Like, you could hear...
I think you need to back up before that.
The door.
You were at the door. The door was wide open, the front door of this location. Our security and Blake jumps in the Durango.
Just like bleep.
Like sideways, leapt in, like, guys, like, I'm talking, if your life depended on it, that's how fast these people jumped in the car, okay? Kat's standing at the door and she's like, Krystal, something's wrong. And I was like, and she sounded very serious because Kat and I joke and laugh on set, and she was like, something's wrong. And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, I don't know. And she's on her phone trying to get a hold of security because it's kind of far. But they have jumped in this car and locked the SUVs, shut the windows. Like, is there a tornado? Like, literally, what is it? And all of a sudden, we hear, like, howls not far. I'm talking, like, once again, it's so black, you can't see anything past the front porch. There's no streetlights in this place. And so, who slammed the door? It was me, right?
Because as soon as we heard the howling, we both ran to the door to try to shut it, but we couldn't shut it all the way because the wires were running through it.
There were wires in the door.
Running through it.
I am laying on the door, guys. I can't get it shut, can't get it locked. And this pack of whatever they were, and once again, I've heard coyotes will not walk up to you like this. There was a pack of whatever it was, and we swear it was hellhounds. They were outside the door. They were pushing the door. They were sniffing at the door. You could hear and see their nose and claws under the door because you're talking about that place was built in like the early 1900s, late 1800s. So the door framing didn't even fit anymore. So you could see under the door by like an inch. And Kat and I'm kidding you, or I'm serious, not kidding you, I'm not shitting you. We are laying against the front door.
We were yelling. And the reason why we were yelling was 2 reasons. One, we needed help because we had somebody else in there that was in the back room not knowing what was going on. And 2, we were trying to scare them off. Literally. Because what else could we do?
I scream at other production crew in the house. I'm like shaking talking about it because it was scary. I'm screaming at production crew to get knives out of the kitchen. I'm not kidding you. I'm screaming at them because they don't know what's going on. And they're like, why do you want me to get knives? Because, that doesn't sound safe. I'm like, you need to get knives. I think that they're going to break in here and we're going to have to fight for our lives. And it lasted for a good 10 minutes. It was terrifying. Solid. So once again, do you think that I was prepared for that? So that's why you have to be prepared. You have to expect the unexpected because I do feel like on set there has always been something weird pop up. Hasn't there? Realistically.
Every time.
Yeah.
Every time. Yeah. And that's bound to happen, especially at super haunted locations, Now, you had another strange thing happen while we were on set in Jerome. Oh my gosh.
And it was the day we were leaving. And you thought it was the maintenance man that was trying to corner you.
Yeah, that was really eerie.
But we think it was like a patron. We spoke to the front desk. They said he was just somebody paying to stay there, and you think he was like possessed or something cornering you.
Yeah, because he was asking for me specifically.
Yeah, Kat. It was creepy.
He was like, you. And there were people walking the elevator, and it looked like he was helping them with their luggage. And I was like, me? And he goes, yeah, you. I need to talk to you. So I was like, oh, sure. I'm thinking like filming, But everyone knew what we were doing.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like a secret or anything. So I was like, well, I need to take a phone call. So, let me finish my call and I'll come down. I'll come find you. And he's like, okay.
And then, he went in, like, the maintenance room, too, literally.
Yeah, so I thought he was the maintenance guy because he literally let himself into the maintenance. Remember, he let himself in the maintenance room because we took the last...
the trolley cart.
Trolley. So he went into the maintenance room to grab another one and then joined us on the elevator.
And he was helping people load luggage, so he looked like he worked there.
And he had like a giant thing of keys, so I just assumed he was maintenance guy. So when he initially said, which was very eerie, by the way, because he did not blink when he was like, you. And he was in the hallway for the elevator.
We had just filmed in the hallway, and we had done some shots where I was. We'll talk about that next. We did some shots where I was laying on a skateboard and I was being pulled backwards. Okay, so I'm laying on belly on the skateboard. This is a cinematography shot. Security has my legs literally yanking me down the hallway, and I have like a 4K cam and I'm shooting, right? So Kat thought immediately they got pissed that we used a skateboard or something. That was like what your thought was like,
I went into producer mode because when he was like, I need to talk to you. He sounded irritated. I was like, okay, great. And there was really nothing anyone could have done anyway, because it was...
Well, you know how to negotiate out of things anyways. I mean, like,
but I wanted to just calm him down. So I was like, all right, well, let me take this phone call. I went up to the floor above and came down, and he was gone. And I went down to the front desk to ask where he was, because he wanted to talk to me.
Well, Kat, you were handling business, and this is important. This is important. I want you guys to hear what she's saying, because she's in producer mode. She thinks that we just got in trouble for the set that we were filming, and she wants to make it right. So she goes down to the front desk to say, hey, I'm looking for the maintenance man. He needs to talk to me about, our film shot that we just had upstairs. Can you tell me where he is? So this is important. Kat is following up. She's doing her responsibility as a producer. This is her job. She didn't run to me to say, I don't want to deal with it. Krystal, you go deal with it. She couldn't find the guy, so she immediately walked downstairs. This is important to have people on your crew that you can trust, because God knows where I was. God knows what I was doing. I was probably filming again. So Kat was like, I'll deal with it.
Yeah, initiative is important and accountability is important. You don't want to leave a location empty-handed, especially if people have questions. Mm-hmm. You want them to leave feeling like they have all the answers to the questions that they have, and that there's no concerns and like everything's good. We're good to go. I couldn't find him anywhere, so I went down to the front desk, and she goes, the description of the man that I gave her was not the maintenance guy. Literally seconds after she was like, we don't have a maintenance guy there, the actual maintenance guy walked out. And she's like, this is our only maintenance man.
Well, no, but you still said, hey, was there a problem? I talked to this other maintenance man. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And, kind of just like explained everything and asked where that guy was, because I wanted to make sure I had also had a chat with him.
Right.
Because it can sometimes be a bad game of telephone, and, I just didn't want to, I wanted to come from me. And he goes, there's nobody here with that description. So at first I was like, was it a ghost?
Was it a ghost?
I was like, oh my God, what? Are they after me? What's going on? Come to find out, he was a patron at the hotel and was not the maintenance guy at all. And they realized that the door to the maintenance room in the back was unlocked. He just literally let himself into the room, and I never found him after that. Never found him after that.
And they were creeped out, though, because they didn't know why he had the maintenance keys on his ring. He had, a huge ring of maintenance keys, so they were trying to find him.
It was very eerie. I do think that there was something taking control of him, because the way that he looked at me in the hallway was very, honed in, creepy. And I was like, me? And he goes, yeah, you. And I was like, okay.
That's when you're like, oh God, we got in trouble for filming. They thought we moved some furniture. They probably thought we didn't fix the furniture like that. I mean, that's a very responsible way of thinking when you're filming on set, because we have moved furniture in the past, and you need to remember, especially Jerome, those are antiques, right? You saw those antiques. These are expensive $1,000 worth of antiques. And I always make sure we take a picture before we move things, and then when we move it back, everything is placed exactly back where it was. So please don't screw things up. Even think about, if there's vases or vases, whatever you want to call it, don't bump into them. Literally, they could be like antiques, and that's another reason you need liability insurance. Somebody breaks something, it happens. It can happen. Someone's going to be responsible for it. And if you don't have liability insurance, then it's going to come out of your pocket or you're going to get sued.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and that's why people skills are important too, you know, because things do happen. But, you know, if you have an in-depth or personal, you know, semi-professional relationship with some of the people there, it's going to help you in the long run. And, you know, that's why I let him know I was going to find him after, even if he didn't really wait up for me, was just him knowing that, you know, I'd reach out and be there to have a chat about whatever he needed to chat about.
Nothing.
His concern.
And
he's gone. He was gone. Couldn't find him.
And before that, he'd been walking the halls. He was going in the maintenance room. He's helping people with luggage. He's all over. And then all of a sudden, he's gone. I did see him, though. I was in the elevator with some of the people that he was helping. And it was weird because I was in the elevator with you. And by the way, that elevator's so old. That's the one where Claude Harvey died. They think he was murdered and pushed under the elevator. Yeah. That elevator's so old. He didn't even make eye contact with me. But once again, not shocked because, as I've said before, if you put Kat and I together, 9 times out of 10, if we're on set, people will walk up to her before they do me. I also think people know that I'm, like, running it and they don't want to, like, interrupt me. You know what I mean? But he didn't say a word to me. So I was like, what? He didn't even talk.
He was very fixated. He was very creepily fixated. Mm-hmm. And I think what creeped me out was me reiterating me, and he goes, yeah, you.
Yeah, yikes.
He did not blink once. He didn't blink once. Like, it was crazy eyes. It was crazy eyes. And I was like, oh, great.
Which is why you thought we were in trouble, which is a legitimate...
Professional's face, it's fine. You know, like, let's chat about your concerns. I'm open to that. Let me find you after.
I'm dead. I'm sorry. Like, all right,
okay.
Look, we moved the antiques back. Nothing's been broken. Yes, you
did.
You saw my boss on a skateboard, but I promise everything's safe. Nothing was broken. Yes, you did see security running, pulling her from behind the skateboard, but honestly, nothing got hit. Everything's safe.
By the way, are you possessed? I'm just making sure you're okay. Like, I'm just making sure you're not. It's okay. Is it the leprechaun? Are you upset about the leprechaun? Because that was we were really loud that night.
That, you know what? That's what I thought it was, because we'd stayed in an area that isn't usually occupied. Let's say that. I'm not going to give it away. And it's a large area of the hotel. And Kat and I shared like this huge suite room together, and the night that I leaned on her foot and I thought it was a leprechaun foot, we could not stop. I'm talking, it was hours. It was probably hours. We were screaming. Like, it must be the energy too in the room, and like the energy of Jerome, don't you think?
We also had like 8 cups of coffee that night because it was just a long day.
Yep.
But it was hilarious because we would like die down from it and then go to bed, and then we'd start randomly laughing after we shut the lights off, and then we turn them back on because we're just dying laughing, and then we shut them off again, and then we did it again, and then I saw a skin. Oh my
God! You said it again.
I saw a crawler in the room, and then went to bed. I was done after that. I was like, I'm done.
I wake up the next day. She's like, yeah. So there was a crawler in our bedroom, and I was like, why didn't you wake me up? And she was like, it doesn't matter. I just went back to bed. I was like, okay. This is when you know you have become a seasoned investigator, okay? When you can go to bed with a crawler in your room with you. That's when you know that you're just like, yeah, it's there. It's fine. Really. Well, you used to get so annoyed with me when we'd go to haunted locations because I can sleep in haunted locations. I do.
Like,
and I do this thing where I take a blanket and I wrap it around my head, because the one thing I don't like is when they mess with like your ears. Because that's a good tip. Seriously, I'm going to share this with you guys. If you have to go to a haunted location and stay the night there, always take a spare blanket, like, I don't know, a baby blanket, like an extra, like, throw blanket. I always take a spare one, and I will wrap it around my forehead or, like, my eyes to here, and I wrap my ears so that they cannot mess with, like, my, you know,
Fences.
I was gonna say holes, but that doesn't sound right.
Yeah, please don't use that. Phrasing. Phrasing.
Wait, what's the word?
With your clairaudience?
I almost said atrocities. Why am I? What, is something wrong with me? Like, am I okay?
Look, you know what? I would rather say holes than skinwalkers. So
It's true. Oh, God.
We're picking the lesser of two evils here.
My God. No, but yeah, I'll wrap my head orifices.
That's not good. We're going down downward slope right now.
I should have stuck with holes. You know what I mean? Okay, well, if you have leprechaun feet coming out of your ears, just protect it with an extra blanket and you're good to go. You know what I'm saying? But then that night, I was getting slapped by something in the face. I really was. But I also...
slapped in the face with...
It was like a baby hand. And it was like... It felt... No, I mean, I don't want to say baby... cat. I don't mean like an actual baby. I mean like...
I didn't mean like an infant hand.
There's an infant...
like a little leprechaun hand.
It could be after we manifested it. No, but like it was something that was very lightly just like my nose back and forth and like kept like, trying to wake me up. And instead of looking at it, I would pull my hand up and be like, stop. So, but that, it does. It means you're seasoned when you can. And the cat, I am happy to announce that she is finally at the point that when she goes to a haunted location, she just sleeps through it. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
And the Clown Motel was not bad. It wasn't bad. I don't think it was bad at all.
That was like one of the best sleeps I had at a haunted location.
I mean, just watch out for the maintenance worker. But other than the maintenance worker, it was, I don't really sense anything negative there at all, to be honest.
No. Exorcist lady was nice.
Yeah, we were in the most haunted room and it wasn't that bad, honestly.
No, it was fine.
Okay, so if you guys have any more questions about pre-production or regular production, just, put them in the comments and I'll see them. Let's move on to post-production. Okay. Caffeinated Christy said, like, little people, no, I just meant energetically it was a light hand, okay?
It just felt like a small hand, like we're not infant.
You know what it reminds me of? What's that, isn't it Scary Movie? The butler, he's like, this is my strong arm.
I could not eat mashed potatoes for a solid year after I watched that movie. I was disgusted. I talk about that with all my friends. We're coming in. I was like,
I'm crying. I can't. Oh my God.
Get it out of the mashed taters. What did they do to you?
Jesus. Cat.
Nothing.
Cat gets traumatized by strange things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Post-production. That's a whole nother demonic, traumatic.
It's a lot. It's a lot of little pieces.
Post-production. Yeah, so if you're going to create something to release as a film, I would not suggest doing a pilot like I did. A pilot is shorter, basically. I did a pilot to try to sell to turn into a series. I think it was a really big mistake because if I would have done something longer and turned it into a feature, I would have had more opportunities with film festivals, okay? So I had done the specific pilot, though, because I was trying to sell it to some production companies. Obviously, it didn't work out. That's okay. I was still able to submit it to certain... it would be considered like... I don't know. Did we submit it as a short documentary or something because it was like under 80 minutes? Is that how we submitted it in film festivals? I think
one of them was actually it was like reality documentary. It was reality documentary.
Yes, it was short.
Was a feature.
It was.
One of them was because of the time. It was like 1 minute over, like just for them because there were specifics for like each one.
That's right.
So one of them it was labeled as a feature. But the other ones were like short reality documentaries, specifically within the category of like paranormal. Yeah,
and so our pilot was the same length that it would basically be on if it was on television. So if it was on a series, so that was like 37 minutes or something like that, maybe 43 minutes, something like that. If you do a feature film, it's usually around like 87 minutes, 90 minutes, somewhere in there. So we are doing a feature this time because we'll have more opportunity with film festivals to submit it. This one's going to be really good. It's really good. I mean...
It's so good.
How did you... I mean, the first film shoot was your first... Or, the pilot was your first major one. But comparing the two is just like night and day.
Oh, 100%.
Like, the pilot was
smooth butter.
It did. The feature was just smooth. We did it. It was done. Bam. The pilot, we had a lot of hiccups. Which is okay. It happens. Nothing's going to be perfect 24/7, of the time. But this feature was just like smooth sailing. It like happened and it did the thing, and then that was it.
Yeah, it was really nice. Very enjoyable experience.
It was.
Because you just knew, like, it was regimented. Like, we'd already been there, done that. Relatively, it wasn't too far after the pilot that we were filming again. So we had already had an idea of, like, okay, here's what we need to do first to make it easier for this process going forward. Here's the shots. Here's the shot list, and
Well, that, and I use the same people on set. Well, most of the same people, not all, but most of. And I think that now, that's why I think it's so important when you have people that you trust in your crew, because now you guys all know how to interact together. And you've done it before, and everybody knows what their position is. Nobody questions it. We all know what we need to do, and it just did it. It just happened.
Yep. And in production, it's good to get that down because time is money. Mm-hmm. So when you have people in their jobs that aren't doing other people's jobs, or questioning other things or disrupting what's happening, it just makes things move a lot easier.
It is.
A lot easier.
It is. Editing with post-production. So I am a person of many hats. I do have a post-production team. Shout out to Jeff and Ben. I love them so much. Mm-hmm. I will not be using them this time. This time I will be editing it myself, and I will be doing audio mixing myself. This is not something that I suggest for people to do unless you have a lot of editing experience. Lucky for me, I have thousands of hours under my belt of editing experience and even audio experience. And honestly, I'll probably still send the final cut to Jeff just to make sure he thinks it sounds good, because he worked on Beekman's World, if you guys remember that from the 90s. But my point is biting off a project like this is not for an amateur filmmaker. Is that a really good way to put it?
Yeah.
And I mean, what's the definition of amateur versus pro? I don't know. I've done 10 pilots already. Most of them are on YouTube, not all of them, but you've seen a lot of them. I've won 5 film festivals, and now I'm at a point where I'm very confident in the work that I do. I've always done like side hustles of edits for like production companies. Obviously, I was a field producer for many years in the industry, and I think that it takes that long to get your confidence up to be able to say, I can do this myself. But now I want you to talk about quality control and the quality difference between like I'm going to use this term loosely, like my orifices. Wait, that didn't sound right either. My orifices are not loose. Like, we're just...
Okay. Oh my gosh. I'm out.
No, I'm serious. You and I were just talking about this the other day. There is I want you to call it as it is. YouTube quality. There is a YouTube quality versus a television quality versus a feature film quality. So I want you to talk about what those mean. Like, what does it mean to look like your YouTube quality?
YouTube quality is more vloggy, so it's more of like camera at you type of situation, some B-roll here and there, interviews, all of that. It's a little bit more, I guess you can say, informal filming, if you want to talk about like that life. And there's really great quality YouTube stuff out there, not knocking it, but it's just its own thing. It's a little bit more, I don't mean amateur in like a not experienced way, but it's just not as like regimented as a legit film set. And, the difference between a feature, like a scripted feature, and like reality are two different things. Reality moves a lot quicker. Mm-hmm. Reality, you have a plan in place. People have their jobs. They know what they need to do, and it gets done in a timely manner, but it moves quickly. We got to keep going. You got to, keep it moving. We're going to go to the next thing. It's fine. Whereas a scripted feature, like, for movies or anything like that, is legit schedule, and it's for like years.
It's for a long time.
It's a long time. Like if you, especially like if you're, the biggest thing that I had learned from research and, you know, working under Krystal's wing and having her teach me so much is like, if you want longevity as a producer, if you want to work in film, reality is the way to go. Reality is the way to go because you're going to get more jobs, or if a show keeps getting signed for seasons, like that's the way that you want to go down. That's the path you want to go down. So
it's easier to get into reality than it is scripted. So what she's trying to say is if we start with reality and we get all this done with reality, it is easier to slide into a script. Like let's say we do Ghost Girl Diaries for 14 seasons and I turn around and look at Kat and say, okay, now I'm going to shoot a scripted series and I'm going to do a scripted feature film and you're my AD, right? Which is assistant director, which that's somebody who's right under me. That means Kat has now slid right into scripted. Scripted is really, really hard to get into, where reality is, quote, easier, is what she's saying.
It's just a different world. It's a different world. But the cinematic quality for both, dependent on the director and the people running it, because it's different. The viewpoints and vantage point is different for everybody, are going to be the same. They're going to be the same, because when you're on a film set, you know, for let's say a scripted feature, you know, it's millions and millions and millions of dollars. Whereas if you have like a reality feature or a reality documentary series, it's going to still be worth millions, but not as much. But the quality is still going to be the same. Mm-hmm. Same thing, same gear, just smaller budget, because it's not for an extended period of time as it would be for a scripted feature.
But the question is why? And there's so many reasons why. One is audio. I see a lot of people on YouTube, and that's okay because it's YouTube quality, but they'll try to like feel, and I'm guilty of it. I'm not saying I'm perfect. Like I've made crappy projects in the past. You know, there's a reason some of them aren't online for you to see. One of the things is, unless you have an audio mixer on set, so an audio mixer has cans on, which are headphones. Cans are a slang word for filmmakers, okay? So they're like big, expensive headphones, usually Bose or something. And then they have like this big audio pack. We own one. I've never actually brought a sound mixer on set with me. I don't need it yet. Eventually we will. But you have this big pack. It's a lot of money, usually like $1,000 or more worth of equipment. They walk around and either they or someone else hold a boom mic, and you can't see the mic in the shot, so it's this really big like pole with a mic on the end, and they're carrying it around. You've probably seen it in some with leprechaun foots dangling on the end.
No more rabbit's foots. It's a leprechaun foot now, y'all. Okay.
But what'll happen? My point of this is like, if you have a boom mic operator, it doesn't matter which direction you turn to talk, you can still hear that person as long as like the mic is in their visual like area. A lot of people on YouTube will go to like shoot like a documentary or something, and they'll walk away from the camera person where they have one directional mic on the camera. So as they walk away, this is what it sounds like. Yeah, so can you guys hear me like way over here? Like, you know, can you notice the audio difference? Can you tell the audio difference? Could you hear it? I mean, so that's one version of why amateur filming is bad, is that your audio quality is going to be bad. You have to pay attention to where your mic is. If you're doing an investigation and you start walking away from your crew and you're way over here saying, okay, now this is where the lady hung herself, and then you come back, do you see how messed up your audio sounds now? And you're going to try to win a film festival with your audio messed up like that? Another way to get really bad, you know, amateur footage is editing. Oh my God, editing is so important, Kat.
Oh, yeah, it's huge. When you're, especially as an investigator, the edits are the most important because that's what's going to build your credibility. You need to make sure everything is up to par.
Well, and it's not just the slicing. It's not just, you know, cutting and like making slices. Don't use a lot of transitions. We hate transitions. Like, that's a thing for amateurs. Transitions are gross. They're ugly and they're stupid. Don't use transitions. When you're an audience member, you don't want to wait 1 or 2 seconds to wait for the transition to happen to see the next scene and see what happens. When you put like little, like, you know, they call them like title formats at the bottom, where you'll see like a block title format and like words pop up. Sometimes when you're an amateur editor, you make it look really fancy by using hard fonts to be able to read, or like really fancy things that roll in on the screen. No, you don't want to see that. You're not, you can tell if you're an amateur editor if you're doing stuff like that. And watch and how do you, so the question is how do you fix your audio? If you're wanting to show people at home the location, you walk backwards as your camera tech walks towards you so that the direction of your mic never changes. This is all film 101 stuff. And honestly, I think buying a film book wouldn't hurt. Get on Amazon, get a documentary film book, and study the shit out of it. Get on Masterclass, pay the $100 a year, study the shit out of all the documentary classes on it.
Mm-hmm.
And
you can literally learn everything off of online now. And experience, just doing it. Just going out and doing it, you know?
Voiceovers. Really hard and really important. It is. I write my script before we film. I do things backwards. I know people are going to look at me like I'm crazy, but that's my version of filming.
That's a good time management thing.
Well, for me, I do that because then if I write the voiceover, you can never have too much. It's better to write more than not enough, Then you shoot all those scenes and now you have everything that you already need. But now you need to go back in and you need to record it. I had to literally build a sound booth in my house that I own. And Kat and I both are talking on professional microphones right now that were very expensive. Like, you can't be cheap when it comes to especially post-production. Oh my God, you'll blow it. And then there's like weird things. There's like, when you're editing audio, there's things called like de-essers, which like you can get like little on like, when we're talking right now on the microphone, it's going to be really loud right now until I edit it later. You know what I mean? But like, you have to really think about what goes into all that audio editing. Now you're layering audio. You're bringing in music that goes with it to like build up, the transitions of what you're doing and the storyline, and you're adding sound effects. Well, then the even harder part is you're editing paranormal footage. Spirit Box is horrible to edit. Am I right? I know.
It's just really bad.
It's
really bad. It doesn't matter how good your audio equipment is. It's just is what it is.
It's the PSP sounds like, it's
always going to sound grainy and gritty. It's just, you just got to figure out what decibel to put it at.
Yep.
And keep it there, the whole time.
And you literally have to go through on your timeline and edit every single thing by hand and listen to it and make sure it's all stabilized on the same audio track, which is usually like, I think I use it at negative 12 dB or something. I can't remember what I use, the industry standard. So yeah, I mean, editing's a pain. I'm going through it right now. I should be finished in the next couple of weeks for the feature. I'm going to show some sneak peeks on Instagram. So get on my Instagram page. I'm not going to post them. It's going to be in stories because I'm not going to post them. But yeah, I'm going to show a couple of sneak peeks. But yeah, I think that pretty much sums up with the feature. It's just a lot of work. So if you think for any minute, that it's easy to do what we do, I get flack from a lot of people. Whether they were people from my past or just people on the internet, because people on the internet are just assholes sometimes. But
mood.
I've always said, like, if you want to criticize me, criticize my filmmaking, call me mediocre, yet I won 5 film festivals, go do it yourself. And they haven't. Why? Yep. Because it's expensive and it's a lot of work and it's literally a lifestyle. It is literally a lifestyle.
It's a very difficult lifestyle. A lot of patience involved.
And the very last thing that we can throw in is being a woman in paranormal. It makes it just all that extra complicated. I mean, there's some of you that have been following me literally since like 2011, 2015 when like my public career started. And I'm still fighting the same fight I was then. And you'd think in 2022 I wouldn't be. I just had this amazing production company that I've been signed to for the last year that literally promised us the world and delivered, again, nothing. And it happens to me over and over again just because we're female and they don't think that we can deliver something like Ghost Adventures. And so you're adding just a whole nother extra boomerang in there. And I know a lot of people are like, oh my God, why haven't you given up by now? Like, you've been doing it for so long, you haven't given up. And I think the answer is, like, I get more fuel the longer we do this. Do you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And every call it a setback, I guess, but it's not really, but we're just going to label it as something, is really just another open door for a fresh opportunity. Mm-hmm. More people to meet, networking, learning something, going and doing the thing, traveling, filming some more. Like, I mean, it's great. It's all about perspective and understanding how the industry works. And just, you got to keep pushing through. Mm-hmm. You have to. There's no other choice. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm so, like, balls deep at this point. I can't stop now.
Orifices.
There's orifices with,
orifices in the balls.
Leprechauns. You said balls. I wasn't expecting that, honestly. That was off-putting. It's as bad as my orifices.
I'm sorry. It was just, fine. We're an even playing field.
Now we're fine. We're clear. But yeah.
It's going to be an explicit podcast.
And, like, honestly, I would say explicit. Just kidding. We didn't really use any bad words. It's just... there was some lingo. You know what I'm saying? There was some lingo. Biggest thing is
there were some choices.
Yeah, the choice of the hanging leprechaun foot. I think we need to make, like, a logo T-shirt of, like, a green foot with, like, you, me, and Elfie's face in the middle of the foot or something. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm gonna crochet one.
I can't. It's like
sell
the
them.
Ball of the foot. You know what? You can laugh all you want, but I really thought that I had crushed a leprechaun that day. I was very upset.
I crushed my foot.
I looked horrified. I was horrified.
She was like,
oh yeah. Speaking of leprechauns, I know. I was like, whoa, where are we going with this? I swore I saw one, in the Stanley Hotel. I'm not kidding you.
Oh yeah.
I swear, I think I saw one. And Billy saw it too from Ghost Adventures, so I don't want to hear it. But it was in the presidential suite. Somebody on our TikTok page was like, I stayed at the Stanley Hotel for a whole week and I didn't see nothing. And I'm like, well, first of all, if you have the ability to see ghosts without equipment, you're probably psychic. Let's start with that. You know what I'm saying? I also have not seen a ghost. You know what I mean? But second of all, I don't believe that you would stay at this. First of all, if you stayed at the Stanley Hotel for a week, that would be like $1,000 or more.
A lot of money.
It is. It's very expensive to stay there. But also, I've been to the Stanley so many times. Like, I literally think I've been there probably 200 times from living in Colorado. And I have never not had an experience there. Like, I've had really good experiences and I've had really bad experiences. So I'm like, how did you not experience anything at the Stanley and you've been there for like a week? Unless you're like a total skeptic and you like totally have it shut off to the point where you just don't want to experience anything at all.
That's probably what it is.
So
that's probably what it is.
Okay. Stanley, she was like, Stanley is not haunted. I was like, girl.
That's because Kat's foot wasn't in it.
Maybe that's where the leprechaun came from. You know what I'm saying?
It's officially, it's like the Annabelle doll. It's attached itself to my foot. Okay?
There was a video of Annabelle the other day on TikTok. I don't know who posted it, but like you saw it. You said you thought you saw it.
I did. Yeah.
And they're like dramatically, was it Tony Sparrow? And he was like, we're taking it out. We're taking the doll out. And everyone's like, we're taking it out. We're taking the doll out. And I'm like, why are you acting like that? Can't you just take it out like a normal person? What are you doing?
Because it's Tony Sparrow. Don't even get me started.
And then there's all these people commenting, I wouldn't do that if I were you. Oh my God, it's Annabelle. Oh my God. Look, I'm not saying she's not haunted. Kat's met Annabelle. It's haunted.
Definitely. Yeah.
But I'm just saying, do you have to act psychotic around it all the time? Like, oh my God. Oh, God.
He's very dramatic. He's very, very dramatic. He talks shit about Zach, and he's very dramatic himself. So,
You know what? Okay, the other day I finally thought about it. Okay, I'm gonna see if anybody says anything in the comments. Okay, Tony Sparrow reminds me. I finally figured it out. Remember, I've always said he reminds me of somebody. I remember.
Who?
He reminds me of the guy, the evil uncle in 13 Ghosts.
Oh my God.
Am I right?
You're 100% correct.
He even dresses like the evil uncle in 13 Ghosts? Is Tony Sparrow that uncle?
I need to do a side-by-side now. I'm going to post that on my Instagram story after this.
I'm serious. I think
dead serious.
It's like a replica, like creepy. I finally thought about it the other day when that video popped up. I was like, oh my god, he looks like the dude from 13 Ghosts. Like, what the hell? And that guy was evil too and did shit for evil. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. Anyway, that's all. I just felt like sharing that.
There's something wrong.
There's something wrong, Kat.
There's something off.
Kat doesn't like Tony Sparrow. She's met him, and
I shook his hand, and I should have worn gloves, just like they wear gloves for Annabelle. Okay, don't touch him.
He's just an unhappy soul. He just wants more money, and it's just not enough, you know?
He's plenty happy right now, I can tell you that.
Well,
but
he needs that show sign.
He can have hangouts with freaking Annabelle.
He should. Honestly, the Warrens used to have, like, dinners with Annabelle and shit, didn't they?
Yeah, he did.
He did?
Where's John Zaffis? Where is he?
He's Lorraine's nephew, and I heard that they were pissed that he used their name when he made his show, The Haunted Collector. By the way, for more tea, I worked for a production company very close with the company. Actually, hang on a second. Please stand by. Because I want to make sure I give the actual tea before I open my mouth. So just hang on. What was it called? The Haunted Collector, right? Haunted Collector. Haunted Collector. I knew the production staff on that series when I was working. What production company is with it? It was on Sci-Fi. What's the production company?
For the Haunted Collector?
Gurney Productions, but they were with Sci-Fi, okay? Now, at the time, I was with Pilgrim Studios, okay? And I knew production company or producers that did The Haunted Collector, and they said to shoot an entire season of The Haunted Collector took 1 week. So I think the whole thing was fake. I think it was all staged.
Yeah, that is not possible.
No, they did like one episode an hour, literally. They literally hired extras. They would like rent people's houses out and like pretend like these things were, they did it quick in Los Angeles, actually. It was done in LA.
That's really dumb.
Yeah, they made it look like he was, so I think the Warrens were pissed that he was like making a fortune off of them while he's like Lorraine's nephew or something. And it was like all frauded out. So I don't know. It was John's office was probably like excommunicated from the Warrens or something after that. I don't know.
I think so, because I don't even think he owns the museum.
Well,
I'm pretty sure Tony does.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. I do know the Warrens had the museum in their house. It got shut down from the state of Connecticut because it was no longer considered to be zoned for a business. So like a museum. So they had to shut it down, and this was like before Lorraine died. And I didn't know about John Zaffis though.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. I didn't know
He's
if that
not at all.
No, I know. They don't even talk, which is strange. But remember, Tony Sparrow is not blood related to the Warrens. It's his wife, which is where I think it's sketch.
Yeah. I don't know. That whole thing's just weird. That's a whole stream in itself that I'd love to talk about someday, because
I would like to
there's
talk
some estrangement going on.
I would like to talk to the Warrens' daughter about her babysitter that Ed Warren supposedly got pregnant when she was 14. Now that's some tea.
Yeah.
I would like to interview the daughter and say, hey, you had a babysitter that lived with you, and she was 14 at the time, and supposedly Ed Warren got her pregnant. Do you remember any of this? That would be an interesting conversation.
Judy is very, that's the daughter.
Hmm.
That's Ed and Lorraine Warren's daughter. She's very, withdrawn.
Judy from the whole thing?
Just like her energy is, she's very withdrawn.
Was she there?
I saw her, but I think she left. I think that she left, like, before the event. Like, she won't even be in the room.
Wow.
Like, she won't, yeah. So, I don't know if maybe she probably experienced some trauma, maybe. But I have heard through the grapevine that she is very psychic as well. I don't know how true that is.
She just doesn't want to be, like, in the public eye.
Just, like, yeah. Especially if, her parents did a lot of really heavy cases.
Mhm.
I can only imagine, but it's unfortunate that her husband has to profit off of her parents. So, that's
Yeah,
a
I
whole
still
other
find it
conversation.
strange. I know. I don't.
The whole thing is just weird. Even Ed's weird. Ed was weird.
Well, no, I don't like Ed for sure. Like, I think he was an opportunist, and especially when all those court documents came out that, like, he actually got the 14-year-old pregnant. He's like a pedo. Yeah, I was not interested.
We should do a refresher stream on that.
Oh,
we
God.
should do a refresher stream because there's a lot to unpack there. And I'd love to hear more about Zaphis as well.
I don't. Is he even on social media? I'm just gonna look really quick. Do you guys care? This is what Kat and I do on the phone.
I know. Sorry, we're going off on a tangent right now.
I don't know. This was not on the docket. But that's it. John Zaf. How do you spell it? Oh, there he is. Pops up. He's got 1,000 followers. That's it. On Instagram. The last post was March 2nd of 2021. He does have a website that says johnzaffis.com. Oh, it looks legit. Still looks legit. This is it.
Really?
And John, JOHNZAFFIS.com if you're interested. I have no idea what's going on here. Ready? I have 43 years of studying and investigating the paranormal. I have the resources and experience to help people in need and to spread the word of the reality of supernatural. What does that mean? Wait. Did I read that right? I have the resources and experience to help people in need and to spread the word of the reality of the supernatural. Does that make sense to you? Because that doesn't make sense to me.
No.
He's spreading his orifices. What?
Grammar.
Within this site, you will find many sources of information to help you understand the realm of supernatural. Okay. Then what?
Supernatural.
John Zaffis has over 43 years of experience. That bothers me when people say shit like that. Is that bad? Like, I get annoyed. Like, I'm not going to sit here and give you how many years, I've been an investigator. Like, just go look me up on YouTube. Like, I don't really care. Does it really matter? I just think, like, people that, like, I've had investigators introduce themselves to me. They're like, I've been an investigator for 16 years. And I'm like, so? Like, what kind of evidence have you got? Good or bad? Or, like, where do you stand on that? I don't really care how long you've been doing it for. He drops Ed and Lorraine on his website, girl. Are you on there?
I'm trying to look up who owns
Oh my God, this
the
is some
Occult
tea.
Museum.
We're ending the stream with some tea. Some mofo tea.
Tony owns it.
He has had the opportunity, this is on his website, he's had the opportunity to work for and with his aunt and uncle, Ed and Lorraine Warren. This sent John beyond, looking for ghosts and hauntings. It sent him beyond. He is beyond, okay?
Beyond help.
Someone needs to help. Someone needs to give him, someone needs to rewrite this for him. This is really bad.
Well, it's really not going well right now anyway, so I don't think it matters.
Hauntings and, this is such poor English. Ed and Lorraine Warren, the grammar is just not here, okay? It's just not. This sent John beyond, looking for ghosts and hauntings, and into studying demonology under the Warrens. Oh, see, never trust somebody that says they're a demonologist. Never trust somebody. Immediately not trusted, okay? Let's see. Oh, this led to John's involvement with cases of possession and exorcism, which gave him the opportunity to work with prominent exorcists in his field, including Roman Catholic priests, monks, Buddhists, rabbis, and ministers. John has assisted and worked with well-known exorcist Bishop Robert McKenna, Father Malachi. My cat's name's Malcolm. We call him Malachi. I'm going to call Malcolm Father Malachi from now on.
Do it!
And Reverend June. His research has taken him throughout the United States, Canada, England, and Scotland, covering several thousands of cases throughout hands-on investigating. Through hands-on. Oh, see, this is bad English. He needs some commas in here. I can't read this without commas.
Tony Sparrow owns the Occult Museum.
The one that he used on his show?
Like legit, like the Occult Museum, Ed and Lorraine Warren's museum. Tony Sparrow owns it.
So it's not even under Judy.
It's not even under. I don't think Judy wants anything to do with it.
Wow.
Judy. I would assume she probably signed it off to Tony. Yeah.
Okay, just so you know, John has first. Sorry, I can't. I have to keep reading this. I just need you to know. John has a lot of first-hand paranormal experience. This includes experience with ghosts, poltergeists, demonic, and diabolical entities. What what is a What's a diabolical entity? Isn't that a demon? I thought that was just something.
I don't. Apparently.
Why are we throwing around fancy verbiage here? What's going on?
John Zaffis owns a museum in Connecticut called the Zaffis Museum of the Paranormal. And it literally says, the intriguing personal collection of a professional demon chaser.
Don't ever trust somebody that calls themselves a demon chaser, okay? Don't.
This is wild. We're going down some dark rabbit holes here, guys. Sorry.
This
is us daily.
Okay, once again, this English is bad, so I can't really read this. So something about he has knowledge that he used for channeling reincarnation through past life regression. I'm not sure. He is firm in his conviction that such phenomena exists.
Some freaking orifices, man. So
John has been featured on his orifice in sci-fi television series, including The Haunted Collector, Discovery Channel documentary. Oh, he was on another Discovery Channel documentary? If this guy can get a show, what's wrong with us? At this point, I'm just asking questions about myself.
So, Zaffis is that's right, he's the nephew of Ed and Lorraine.
Alright, I'm done.
So, okay, so that would make sense then if Tony owns the museum, because they would have given it to Judy. And if Judy didn't want it, then she gave it to Tony. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. Yeah. Wow. That's wild. That's not good. That's not good.
Yeah, it says, over the years, John has collected many hundreds of possessed items, either given or sent to him by wishing people to be rid of them. So somebody needs to go help him rewrite this website. It's called the John Zaffis Paranormal Museum. It says it opened in 2004.
That's crazy.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, sorry.
There's something wrong. Sorry, we went off on a tangent.
Oh, he has the museum on here too.
Wow.
You can get tickets to the museum right here.
For his museum?
I think so.
That has like all of 2 items in it?
Oh yeah, I'm confused. There's only like some haunted dolls and like a sword, and that's it.
There's something from The Haunting in Connecticut, which is my favorite movie, by the way. I love that haunt so much. That he has in his museum, but I don't know how legit it is. He's just the whole thing just messed up.
You can buy a lot of stuff from him. You can buy What Lurks in the Dark book. You can buy When Spirits Speak, We Listen.
Leprechauns lurk in the dark.
There's a leprechaun foot right there. Oh my god, okay, I'm done. That was enough.
I kind of want to go visit it.
You know, the last time you did that, it didn't go very well by yourself, remember? I'm just saying.
Wait, which one?
The Conjuring House was kind of weird.
Oh, the Conjuring House? Yeah, but I'm glad I experienced that, though.
You are?
I want to go there at night. Yeah, I am.
You want to go to the Conjuring House at night?
Yeah, I go at night. Absolutely. Oh, it's a mess at night. I've heard nothing but it's a mess at night.
What does that mean?
I'd go. Like, paranormal-wise.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought you meant...
Like, it's just different between day and night. I mean, the dog poop is still there.
God.
It's there day and night, but, you know.
Stop! I can't. Oh, my God.
It's true.
Just take a flashlight, okay? They have giant German shepherds, all right?
Wear bags on your shoes.
It's really good fertilizer, okay? It's really good fertilizer.
That's going to be another stream in itself, okay? Actually, I'm pretty sure we already did one on that, but we can do a refresher.
I can't. The things we have been through, I just can't.
I also, when I was in New York, so I was in Garden City, New York.
Oh, wow.
I was like 20 minutes from Amityville, and I was like this close to going.
But trauma. But trauma.
Yeah, that probably would have been fun.
That's what Kat calls me, and she had some family, you know, we all have family issues we have to deal with. Yeah, well, that's just normal. And she's having some, you know, things happen with her family, and
issues.
She calls me, and she's having issues with her family, and she's like, I think I'm going to go to Amityville, and I was like, I think it's a really bad idea. Like, really bad. And she's like, but I'm like 20 minutes away. I was like, considering what's been going on, I think it's a poor choice, Kat. And so she listened to me the next day. She's like, yeah, I didn't go. I was like, okay.
Going through a distressing time, first thought in my head, visit Amityville. It's like, tell me you're into paranormal without telling me you're in the paranormal.
It's like,
definitely one of it.
My mom gets murdered. She dies in January. Oh, we're going to film a feature in February. What? Are you okay? Yeah, that's how I deal with my trauma. When someone dies, I just go on a ghost hunt. It's fine. I'm fine. I've got that. Actually, no, that was
divinely guided.
It was.
That was divinely
That was
guided.
my mother. My mother. She's she's very strong.
She's laughing with us right now.
Yeah, she's like, oh my god, Kat and Krystal are on. Have you guys been watching the podcast? You know she's watching right now. My god.
Oh, of course. Oh gosh.
My god.
Biggest fan.
Mm-hmm.
Number one fan.
Well, that is the tea. And
That's the tea.
yeah, I think this is a really good spot to stop. That was pretty good.
Let's do it. This was great.
We always have so much fun doing the most stupid things. Like, who would have thought we'd be looking up John Zaffis? I don't even know what I'm doing with my life.
I don't even know. Oh, because we were talking about Annabelle.
Oh, yeah.
He also just has a really funny name, Zaffis.
Well, I'm not discrediting him. He might be a really good dude. I don't know. All I know is the producers that I spoke with said that his show wasn't legit and that they filmed it a season literally in a matter of like a week or two.
Aries calls bullshit.
I don't
Maybe
know.
That's just me.
I don't know. You mean...
Maybe it's just because I'm salty about Tony. I just don't trust anybody from that family.
Well, you said, like, people in Connecticut are kind of weird anyway sometimes because you've dealt with
Oh,
it.
gosh. The worst drivers, like, worse than people from Mass. And I was going to say massholes, but I can say that because I'm also a masshole. I was born in Mass.
Yeah. I don't think it's worse than LA drivers, though, because there's a ton of people moving to Vegas from LA. Oh, no, you have no idea.
I don't know. If you're going to Connecticut then.
And I used to live in LA, and I used to want to go back to LA, and like now the last thing it's so weird. It is like, life is wild, okay? Like, I lived in LA for a few, 5 years, whatever, when I was like working. Then I like went back to Denver for a while, and then I was like dying to move back to LA. I decided to move back to Vegas because it's the next closest like metropolis to LA. And, like, I was in Vegas, and I've been in Vegas for, 7 or 8 years now. And I've literally, like, the first few years I was here, I was like, oh, my God, I hate it here. I just want to move back to LA. And now I've been in Vegas, and I don't ever want to move to LA. Life is so weird. Life is so weird.
Yeah.
I never would have thought first of all, I didn't even want to live in Vegas. I don't even know how I got here. Somehow I'm here. I don't even know what's going on. Same.
Every day of my life, I ask myself that.
How did I get here?
I'm just kidding. How did I get here?
I do like Sedona, though. I would consider moving to Sedona.
Oh my gosh.
Mm. Yeah, if you haven't been to Sedona, you need to go. It's magical. It's not typical Arizona. I feel like when people hear Arizona, they think of like just desert, like Vegas. But Sedona's like kind of in a mountainous area. It's cooler. There's a lot of trees, a lot of greenery. It's beautiful. It actually snows there. There was snow there when we went, wasn't there?
Yep,
yeah.
There was. Beautiful.
It was. Yeah, Sedona's gorgeous. I don't like Flagstaff. I'm not a Flagstaff person, though. It's a college town, and I don't know. I'm just not a Flagstaff person. I don't know. It's just me.
Yeah.
So
I'm not a college town person.
And I'm not a Phoenix person either, because Phoenix is hot. It gets to be like 125 degrees down there.
Someone said in the comments.
What? Oh, I missed.
Dog poop is the perfect trap for leprechaun feet.
Mood.
I did not step in it though.
She said the Conjuring house is covered in dog poop. So just so you know, that's their way of sacred way of like cleansing the ground is through like fecal matter.
No, it's laziness. That's literally what it is. It's pure laziness. I think they took the house off the market.
Of course they did, because they got all the attention that they needed through the media, and now they're good to go.
Yeah.
That's all they needed.
I think they took it down.
My eyeball just rolled to the back of my head, and I saw my brain.
Well, realistically, that is also why I went, because I didn't know if I'd, be able to go again.
That was a big fart in the air. That was such a Kardashian move to be like, we're going to sell it. It's done. It's worth $1.1 million. And then everybody flocks to make, book it there. Although I still don't trust the dude. Because he said he had,
husband?
Yeah, because he said he has PTSD and firearms and shit. Like, that makes me nervous.
Yeah, and he's very open about it during the tour as well, about some close calls he's had with people. But I mean, it's hard with him because people have been trespassing on the property. But the other half of me is like, then get better security.
Yeah.
Where's the money going?
Uh-huh.
If people are paying to go and go to your location and you're booked out for a year for overnights, pay for better security so you don't have to worry about it.
It's not even that. Okay, let me just say this. If you're a smart business person, what they would do is turn the property into an LLC, and you can literally get like, you know, business loans on the home if you so I don't even know if it sounds like it was privately owned then turned into a business. They're not doing it right.
It was.
If it's under a business name or an LLC, you can actually take equity out on it. I'm just saying, hire a freaking financial advisor, and when you take that equity out on it, you can build a privacy fence around it like the haunted museum, and you don't have to worry about people entering your, I don't know. Anyway, that's my rant. I'm fine.
It's true.
Ugh.
True. Yeah, some little old lady owned it before they owned it. The new owners owned it. I can't think of their names right now. Heinzens?
Yeah.
I don't know. Can't remember. But
well, on that note, this was a good podcast. Thank you guys so much for being here with us. As always, this will be uploaded as an actual, you know, on Spotify and all that stuff. We hit 45,000 downloads last week. I think I announced that, but yeah, I know. Good job. We're getting there. Yeah, got to start somewhere. You know what I mean? And hopefully we can start getting the podcast sponsored. So if you hear ads coming up soon, because, you know, mama's got to get paid. All of us need to get paid at some point. And yeah, that's about it. Make sure you follow us on social media. Oh, we hit 14.1K on TikTok. Holler at your girl. Holler.
Yes. Follow GGT on the TikToks.
I'm doing a lot of the work by myself. However, Kat is helping me with social media management. Holler, Kat. I appreciate you.
Boop, boop.
And yeah, we're doing amazing. So thank you guys for everything. Next week's with Elfie. I think we have another occultist chat coming up. And don't worry, we only have leprechaun feet every other week. Oh.
Every other week.
The 21st, is that right? We are taking a break from, I was going to reschedule, or the 20th. The 20th of May, we are going to have a slight intermission. Kat, I was going to just go ahead and like swap Elfie and Kat days, but we're just going to have a 1 week intermission, so we will be off on the 20th. So
yeah, I have a show.
Yep.
I have my it's the second night for Little Shop of Horrors, so I will be conducting in the pit.
That'll be so fun. Oh my God.
Yeah.
No skinwalkers, Kat. No skinwalkers, somebody said.
No skinwalkers, just leprechauns and crawlers.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for everything. We appreciate you so much. Make sure you can always download this podcast too, even if you don't listen to it, just to support us. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, on Spotify. You should. Just keep supporting us. Keep it going. So yeah, make sure you guys are following us. Make sure that you are on the new YouTube channel too. Make sure you're on social media. And as always, we will catch you guys next time. Thank you guys.
Back from the dead.